everybody, and welcome back to the Dough Cooking Show. Welcome back to the Dough Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday. It is Sunday if you're watching this live. It is September 22nd, 5 p.m. EDT, and I see that we have all of my lovely sous chefs in the chat today. Hello to Shy Chica, hello to Tulina Chess, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, hello to Two Dads Kissing, hello to Yoon. Welcome on in, as well as to Ilium. I'm not sure if I already said Ilium. Also welcome on in Underestimated Monkey, Spy Wow as well. And that's right, just as you said, Underestimated Monkey, also Shop and Chris, welcome on in. We're going to be doing a bit of a cabbage soup today. This is something that seems a little bit unappealing. It might seem a little bit unexciting to some of you, but this is a dish that in a lot of ways is something that I've grown up with. Cabbage soups are the cabbage soups of Eastern European food, of Eastern European cuisine. They're cheap, they're eaten year-round, and this one specifically is more inspired by the Polish Kapusniak. Does this recipe use egg? It does not, Yokomoto. Welcome on in. Chef, did you remember? I'm not sure what I needed to remember. Did I buy more gloves? Yes, I did. I did buy some more gloves, Two Dads Kissing. Oh, it's the 21st night of September? That was yesterday, Two Dads Kissing. Kapusniak is boiling, but so good. That's right, Underestimated Monkey. It is a little bit boiling, it is a little bit simple, but that does not mean that it's not going to be delicious today, my friends. I quite frankly think that everybody should have a cabbage soup under their belt. Cabbage soups are an excellent way of using up a whole bunch of cabbage at once. It's nutritious, and above all, it's incredibly cheap, and it reheats really easily at home. So it's one of those things that I would say is ideal home food. It's ideal home cooking, okay? That Kuromi shirt was worn a lot. I think it kind of came in like the suspects. And then alongside this kapusniak today, alongside the cabbage soup, we're going to be doing a bit of a salad today. Just using some cucumbers, some tomatoes, some red onions, just like, again, the kind of chopped salads that I really grew up eating. And then we're going to do a bunch of feta cheese on top as well. So, everybody, let's begin with a fairly unconventional choice for something like a kapusniak. We have a Napa cabbage today. Now, Napa cabbage is not necessarily the kind of cabbage that you see used in Eastern European cooking. You would see your typical plain green cabbage. And the reason why I'm using a Napa cabbage is because, as you might have guessed, this is something that I had left over. I had it left over, I had it sitting in my fridge from the previous stream, and so I wanted to go ahead and use it up today. I have half a head of Napa cabbage. It's not a lot of cabbage, but we're not going to make a lot of soup today, okay? So, half a head of Napa cabbage, all set, all ready to go, in all of her glory and all of her excellence. Gonna go ahead and put that down. Next, my friends, let's talk about some of the meat choices for today. So, for Polish food, you would ideally want to use like a smoked or like a boiled Polish sausage. I don't have access to that at the moment. What I still have, however, my friends, is I have some Italian sausage, okay? I'm glad you were saying kapusniak instead of kapusniak or something else. Well, yeah, I'm Russian. I have an idea of some, Eastern European pronunciation for things. In Russian, our cabbage soup would be shi, right? That is the one that we've eaten the most. So, everybody, I have some hot Italian sausage. Again, not the traditional sausage that is used, but this is the sausage that I already had at home. And then we also have some bacon. I'm going to be going in with the bacon today for some smokiness, okay, for some extra flavor to be able to get some of that delicious bacon fat out. And then everything is going to end up cooking up in that bacon fat. So, bacon, as well as some Italian sausages. I'm going to go ahead and quickly throw that into the fridge so that they stay nice and cold for today. Also, I don't know who just subscribed because you picked the one moment that I walked away to subscribe, but I'm going to come back to you in just a second. I promise, I'll be back. Already on my way back. Thank you very much. So, to Christian Primus, thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Next, let's talk about some of my vegetables for today, everybody. So, going into the salad today, we're going to have some cucumber. I also wanted to do some jalapeno because I'm kind of imagining like a Georgian salad. In a lot of Georgian salads, you see like green chilies and stuff be used. So, I wanted to go ahead and throw in a jalapeno. We have cucumbers, we have tomato, we have red onion as well. Really simple salad, almost like a shepherd's salad basically, except we'll be doing it with dill and not parsley. For the soup itself, my friends, I have 1 carrot. We might not necessarily use all of it. And then we also have 1 potato. For a soup like this, you could theoretically use any kind of potato that you would like. I'm using an Idaho potato because that's what my store had and what was cheapest in the moment. So, Idaho potato as well as a nice little carrot, all set and ready to go. Now, everybody, a very nice addition that you can do into a cabbage soup is to include some sauerkraut. Okay, I don't have any sauerkraut at the moment. It's going to add a really nice lactic tang. It's going to add a really nice acidity to it. Instead of that, guess what I have? I have leftover kimchi, and I thought that that would make for an excellent addition into something like this. Okay, it's going to add a little bit of sweetness, it's going to add a little bit of acidity, it's going to add a little bit of spiciness. It's not a fermented kimchi, this is the kimchi that we made last time, and I have eaten almost all of it. And so, I wanted to go ahead and add it in. You see people cook with kimchi all the time, especially for the jjigae, where people make stews, they do fried rices out of them, and so, I'm gonna just use up my leftover kimchi. Ideally, I would use something like sauerkraut, but I don't have access to that at the moment. I have this leftover, and I'm pretty confident that it's going to be delicious in something like a kapusniak. Right? It could work nicely on Underestimated Monkey. You see my vision. And that's the fun part about cooking, my friends, that these kinds of things can be so interchangeable. Okay, now, let's go to the rest of my ingredients. Now, another unconventional ingredient in something like this today, my friends, is the addition of the humble leek. Why am I adding a leek? Well, I was kind of thinking about the flavor profile that I had going on. I had potatoes, I had bacon, and so potatoes, leek, and bacon is a pairing that you see, well, not a pairing, it's a trio that you see be used and cooked with all the time, right? Especially people do like baked potatoes with leeks and bacon and whatnot. And so I wanted to use this instead of an onion inside of my soup today. Again, that is the magic of alliums. It's how interchangeable they are. Leeks and onions are absolutely 100% interchangeable, my friends. And so that's what I'm gonna use today. But if you don't have a leek, feel free to use any kind of onion that you would like inside of a soup like this. So we got one leek, all set and all ready to go. Next, my friends, we have a bunch of fresh dill. I love dill. I love dill in soups and I love dill in salads. And that's exactly what we'll be seeing. We're going to be seeing all of my fresh dill get added directly into the soup. We're going to be making a homemade broth. And use the stems for that, and then some of it will go into the salad. Everybody, if you are not yet accustomed to cooking with dill, this is not the most popular herb, especially in the United States, but it is one that I love. It is one that I grew up with. I grew up in a Russian Jewish household. We use dill all the time, and I love how aromatic it is, and it makes everything so delicious. I adore dill, and so should you. And I would love to hear a nice yes chef to that, please, and thank you. Let's go ahead and put my dill down. And then everybody, again, the ingredients for today, we're keeping it easy. We're keeping it simple. The last thing for the salad really is we're gonna just use some vinegar. Again, I'm really just sort of thinking about a lot of the chopped salads that I had growing up, a lot of the Russian chopped salads, and they would just be dressed with an aggressive amount of white vinegar, okay? So those are all of the ingredients for today. And then we'll also have some paprika and cayenne going into the cabbage soup. So for today, we're going to be making our own homemade stock really quickly. I have some leftover smoked pork bones, and we're going to use up our vegetable scraps. While the stock is cooking, we're going to do the rest of the prep. That would be specifically for the carrots, that would be specifically for the onions, some of the other stuff that's going to go into the soup. And then when everything is stewing and cooking away, my friends, we're going to go ahead and make that lovely salad. So, a little bit of housekeeping. You love this stream? Well, John, I'm happy to provide. First of all, everybody, for those of you that have any cooking questions whatsoever, please remember that at any point in time, you are more than welcome to ask me. I'm here to help teach you guys how to cook at home, and so it can be about this dish, it can be about anything that you would like. I want you to ask me things, okay? It can get technical, it can be silly, whatever you would like. Second of all, for those of you that have not already checked out my Patreon, Trash Can Cat Mom put the link in the chat. It's patreon.com/Daramgar. If you'd like to directly support the show, that is the best way to do so. My goal is to go full-time one day, and so any and all help on the Patreon would be useful. So everybody, let's go ahead and begin with making the stock for today. Okay, so why should you be making your own homemade stocks to begin with? It might seem like it takes up a lot of time, but in reality, my friends, it gives you two direct benefits. First of all, making homemade stocks is an amazing way of using up existing vegetable scraps. You're saving a little bit of money more than anything. On an individual level, I don't really care about food waste as much, but the reality is you do end up saving money, right? We just end up building a collection of all of these different ingredients that we no longer have a use for, but still are able to go ahead and release a little bit of flavor. I'll go ahead and give you guys an excellent example of that right now. In my fridge, I was keeping a bunch of frozen mushroom stems, okay? A bunch of frozen mushroom stems, and then also some other frozen vegetable scraps, okay? So it's a really good idea to be able to use them up in something like this. Even though we're not really cooking with mushrooms today, let's go ahead and make a mushroomy stock, and I think it's gonna be delicious. Underestimated Monkey, where do I buy my fresh herbs? Just at my local supermarket, usually. That's all, okay? So specs, if you like sauerkraut or fresh cabbage, you can absolutely make a soup that is based on an aggressive amount of it. Also cheap, welcome on in. Hope you're having an excellent day. So everybody, I have some frozen mushroom stems. I have some frozen carrot scraps as well that I'm going to go ahead and just add directly inside of my pressure cooker pot. Now, when it comes to making homemade stocks, you don't need to use a pressure cooker, okay? But I love teaching people pressure cookers because it is a very nice quick way of making home stocks. You don't have to sit there at a pot, you don't have to wash it, you don't have to babysit it, and it gets done within an hour or so. Do I do any mise en place before streaming? On The Decimated Monkey, we do the mise en place, I don't know why I say plat, we do the mise en place while we stream. Okay, so I just do a lot of my washing, I do a lot of my prep beforehand, but I don't do any of the cutting. Basically, the things I want to show off, I won't do ahead of time, but the things that I think I don't need to, you know, sometimes like opening up a package, I don't always need to show that off. Okay, everybody, next addition into here, I have all of these leftover smoked pork bones. Okay, and I'm trying to clear out my freezer. We're going to have a lot of smokiness. We're gonna have a lot of cured flavor with the sausage and the bacon, but this is not gonna be a too concentrated stock. So in goes my smoked pork bones. Now, you could do a chicken stock, my friends. You could do a beef stock. You could do a pork stock. You know why? This is a cabbage soup. Who cares what you add inside of it? It's supposed to be a vegetable soup, it's supposed to be cheap, and it's supposed to be really, really easy to make at home. So, again, the magic of making your own homemade stocks, my friends. I got rid of those frozen smoked pork bones, and I got rid of those frozen mushroom stems. I encourage you to use any of the vegetable scraps that you will find in regular cooking. Okay, that is why you should all get into the habit of making your own homemade stocks. It's delicious, it tastes better, and it's a nice way to use up existing scraps and you're saving up a little bit of money depending on the kind of stock that you're doing. Okay, now let's go ahead and begin getting some other stuff thrown inside of it. Right, speaking of vegetable scraps, what do we have, my friends? We have a carrot, right? We cut off the top and we cut off the bottom. So let's go ahead and add those inside because normally they're a little bit too dried up, right, for us to want to go ahead and cook with them, and they can be a little bit too thin. So let's just go ahead and add them into the stock. They're going to provide a really nice sweetness. Okay, carrots and stocks, always a classic. Next, everybody, I have a red onion. This red onion was going to go into my cucumber and tomato salad today. So instead of discarding some of the papery skin, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use it in this final stock, my friends. So we're going to begin by simply decapitating the onion. Right? You could theoretically wash it if you would like to use the topmost skin. But the reason why I don't do that is just because it's a little bit annoying. So I'm okay with you losing a little bit of it. And I'll just go ahead and trim off that top. Everybody, perfectly good red onion top. You know what we do with it? That's right. We take it and we throw it inside of the pot. Then we're going to go ahead and take our red onion, right? Root side up, head side down. Slice it directly in half. And now, my friends, as we peel this onion, right, usually what we do is we take off the first two layers, right? It's the same idea as amputating something, right? Or if somebody has an infected wound, you cut until you see red blood, right? Basically, you don't just want to remove the topmost skin, you want to remove a chunk of that flesh on top as well, because it tends to be a little bit papery as well. Right? The closer it is to the surface, the more papery it is. So I'm okay with wasting a little bit of it just to get the optimal texture out of it, especially for something like a salad. Out of context, this sounds vile. Well, I feel like it's the best analogy that I have at the moment. I think it works out great. Okay? So everybody, my red onion skin, in it goes. All right? You don't want to necessarily use every kind of vegetable scrap. Also, cyanide patch, I'm glad that you're loving it so far. Welcome on in. I'm curious, how did you find the cooking show? Okay, that is added inside. I also don't like to do carrot peels because they cook so quickly that oftentimes what just ends up happening is it gets really, it just kind of dissolves, right? And then you get like a bit of a cloudy stock. It's not that big of a deal. You can include it if you'd like to. I don't like to though. Okay, everybody, I have one of my favorite kitchen ingredients. I have the humble leek. Now let me tell you something. I love leeks, but these guys are a pain in the ass to work with. There is no way around it. They're absolutely filled head to toe with sand. And so we need to be able to properly remove said sand. Okay? We're going to begin by, once again, we're going to cut just where the greens stop. The greens, by the way, are also really papery and tough. They're going to get added into the stock today. We're going to go ahead and just trim that up. Hello, it is rock hard inside, meaning I should probably go down even further. because if the core of it is still just that tough, then it's actually not going to make for that good of sauteing. Okay, so this is the leek that we cook with. That's going to go directly into the soup. And these are going to be the leek scraps, my friends. Now, look at how much sand there is. Maybe my brain is small, but what is stock? Cadence, that is not a bad question at all. You've mentioned it a lot in reference to soups, but I don't eat soups often. So really good question. Stock's referred to in cooking as any sort of flavorful liquid that you've extracted things out of. For example, chicken stock, or beef stock, or mushroom stock, right? People, they will go out of their way to specifically make a liquid that has all of the flavors out of bones and vegetable scraps. So, really good question, Cadence. And the question is, how does it differ from a broth? Purely semantic, but the difference usually is that stocks tend to be a lot more simple and broths tend to be a lot more seasoned and flavorful. The goal of a stock is to remain somewhat neutral, right? Because you don't always know what you're going to use it for. Sometimes you use it in a sauce, sometimes you do it for different soups. So you typically want to keep the flavor simple and not add a lot of spices. Okay? So in my case today, my friends, look at that. Look at what all that is. You see that, my friends? That is all sand and dirt. That does not mean throw away the leek. That does not mean to throw away that chunk of it. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you how to properly and beautifully wash up a leek, my friends. Okay? Just we don't want to get it too much on our cutting boards. So that's the leek. So all of those people, by the way, that you see that take their leek and they cut it in half and they rinse it under some water, do you think that's good enough to get rid of that sand? I'm not going to, I don't think so. I do not think so. Everybody, all I'm doing in my salad spinner, or you can just do this in a bowl with a strainer, either or is okay. I'm just going to go ahead and split up all of my leek greens. All of them have to go. All of them have to go in, my friends. So, Tarina, I wish you didn't say that. Please don't say that. I really don't like that topic very much. Thank you. Ew. Okay, it's in. Now, my friends, the only thing that we want to go ahead and do, let's just probably break them up in half or so, just because they're a little bit too long, right? They're a little bit long. They're not really fitting inside of my salad spinner correctly. So we can just break them up. And I don't think we necessarily need all of these leeks today. We can go ahead and, of course, freeze some of the leek scraps. All I'm going to do, guys, take it and submerge it under some nice cold water. Get all that sand off of it, my friends. You want those layers separated. You want it soaking. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Is sand bad for you? Asks India 3BN. The answer is yes. Specifically, it's bad for your teeth more than anything. I don't really know about the implications of eating sand on the rest of digestion. But, guys, I have a question. How many times have you eaten a mushroom dish and you felt that grit? How many times have you eaten, like a crawfish boil and you felt that grit? That's all sand in your teeth and it's awful for your teeth. Okay? So, that's the answer for you. That's the answer that I got in mind for you. Okay, everybody, while my leek tops are soaking, we can go ahead and continue getting some more scraps for the stock today. Because guess what? You know what I'm going to use? I'm going to be using dill today. Now, typically speaking, when you prep dill, when you work with dill, you don't really like the texture of the stems themselves. The stems have a lot of flavor. They're really aromatic. The stems are really nice and delicious, my friends. But the issue is they tend to be super, super woody. Okay? And that is not a pleasant texture, especially in something like a salad. You can smell that dill, as can I, because I'm the one cooking with it. Okay? So guys, if this is not enough motivation to get you excited about making homemade stocks, I don't know what will. Okay? I find it fun. I find it creative. And it's also like, I like being able to make the most out of what we have. Borscht supremacy? That's right. Oh, guys, we have still not made a borscht on the stream yet, which is a bit of a mistake because I grew up eating borscht, right? It was, we had it all the time. So it's very interesting. The borscht I grew up eating was never really based on beef. I know that like most of the borschts that I've gone out to Russian restaurants, they might have like beef shanks in there or something, but our borschts were purely vegan. And it was never like as a main dish. We always had it before something else in my household. And there's like more like a Jewish style borscht, which has less tomato and it's more about the beets themselves. But I really like having the beets and tomatoes side by side. I really like them in proportion to each other. So Guys, we have all of this lovely dill. And again, if you have not cooked with dill before, I want you to be able to do so, my friends. The texture of it, the flavor, the aroma of dill, it's so special. So many people, they get pigeonholed into exclusively cooking with dill in the setting of like a salmon or something, right? They just do like salmon, or they do like a dill lemon dressing. And I find that to be so boring. Guys, it goes everywhere. I bet you can even make an excellent like salsa out of it or something, you know? Dill is so fun. Dill is so exciting. And it's just one that I get very, very inspired by. It's one that's very close to my heart. So, picking off all the fronds, get them up, get them out of here. I'm also going to go back to the dill and quickly, to the leek, excuse me, and I'm going to exchange the water. We did one pass. We got a lot of sand out, my friends. But now we have to do a few different passes to get as much of the sand out as physically possible. You don't want any of that sand inside of the stock, because when we strain the stock, the sand is so small that it goes through the strainer, okay? So even though it's gonna get filtered, the only way that you could theoretically keep a dirty leek that is filled with sand is if you strained it specifically with a cheesecloth, right? Because cheesecloths are so fine that they usually won't allow sand to go through them. But you'd have to double up and triple up on the cheesecloth, and I think that's annoying. So specs. If you don't like cilantro, if you don't like coriander because you have the cilantro soap gene, you should try using culantro. C-U-L-A-N-T-R-O. It's used all over Central America. It's used in a lot of different Latin cuisines as well. They don't taste exactly the same, but it is a lot more interchangeable for cilantro than for parsley. Have we used cheesecloth on stream? Yeah, when we made cheese. That's the only time that we've used a cheesecloth so far. So just going in, my friends, you know what we're doing? That's right, we're getting all that dill. Wait, hold on. I put it in the wrong piles. I messed it up. That goes over here. Thank you. You go over there. Lovely. Keep plucking it. Have fun with it. Go slow. I could also put the rest of my dill into the fridge once I'm done with this step. Okay. Keep going through it, my friends. Keep going through it, keep going through it. But yeah, culantro is of course not a perfect, it's also sold as sawtooth coriander, depending on where you're buying it from. It might be sometimes sold at Chinese grocery stores as well, because it's used in Vietnamese cooking. And I meant that mostly because, like, you know, the Chinese grocery stores in the United States, they have to carry like all Asian products, right? They kind of have to be, because a lot of the different communities are quite small in the United States. So they kind of have to go to the same place to shop. But razor tooth cilantro or razor tooth coriander might be what you're looking for. In that case, if you're looking for something with a similar enough flavor. I love culantro though. I love the flavor of it. It gets blended down and used in sofritos all the time. It gets used in stews. It gets used in pots of beans. Once again, guys, just going through all of this lovely little dill. We want something herbaceous. We want something light and flavorful. Ooh, and this is going to be aggressively dilly today as well. It's going to be quite generous with how much we add inside. Okay. These guys are all like the little teeny tiny fronds. They're a little annoying to pluck, but that's okay. We're almost done, everybody. We're almost done. We're almost done. Oh yeah, a big pile of dill. I adore dill, my friends. So hopefully, you know, I don't know how much people are familiar with cooking with dill here, but I hope that I got some of you guys excited about it. Also, if you ever feel like your fresh herbs are spoiling, I would like to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, everybody. Best way to keep it fresh. I soak it in water, I get rid of all of the sand, I put it in a little Tupperware with a paper towel after I dry it off. This way, your fresh herbs, which are notorious, right? Notorious for going bad so quickly. People go to Trader Joe's and they buy their little teeny tiny packs of herbs for several dollars, but at least they're not wasting food because at least it's not going bad. Tupperware with a paper towel, my friends, it will hold sometimes longer than a week, okay? So there you go. That's your motivation. If you haven't already done that, please go ahead and do so. Best way to keep fresh herbs at home, everybody. There's so much nonsense, there's so much misinformation about keeping it like flowers, right? You would like put it in a container, upright with water. I hate that method, absolutely hate it. It never works out. I think people only did that for TV cameras, quite frankly. Either you keep it alive or you do my method, quite frankly, as far as it goes. Why do I do a paper towel? Does it make it last longer? Yes, underestimated monkey. It's not wet when it goes in, but it becomes wet over time because it's a natural humidity regulator. If you put it into the container without the paper towel, the environment would get a little bit too humid. If you left it exposed to the oxygen, it would get a little bit too dry. The paper towel keeps it naturally at the optimal humidity to keep the herbs nice and fresh. Too dry, and then, you know, it turns yellow and wilted. Too wet, and it turns brown and mushy. Okay, and there's a really, really nice, good middle point that we're really going for. I'm gonna go ahead and take my dill and quickly put it into a separate little bowl. Everybody, if you don't have a bench scraper, let me show you the magic of a bench scraper. Ready? Look how easily and effectively it's able to pick everything up. Herbs, they sometimes, especially when a little bit damp, when a little bit wet, they stick to your cutting board. Well, not with a bench scraper, my friends. Not with a bench scraper, not one bit. Okay? So, a bunch of fresh, lovely, delicious dill. I'm going to put that behind me. I see that I still have a stem or two. Beautiful. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and quickly come back to my leeks. Again, we're just washing them off of all of that sand, everybody. Leeks are a bit of a hassle. They're a little bit of a headache. They're a little bit fussy. But we get rewarded with their sweetness, with their delicious allium quality, my friends. So be patient with the leek. Accept it for what it is. Do not judge him for being the way that he is, because guess what? He had no control over whether or not he had sand. Don't just rinse him off. Show him some love. It's a Sunday. This is the kind of a soup that can last you a whole week. It's okay to put a little bit of extra time. I am not here to show you shortcuts. I'm not here to show you do things as fast as humanly possible. I'm here to show you how to love cooking and how to love food. And in order to love cooking, you have to be patient with things like vegetable prep. Because guess what? It takes time. It takes a little bit of energy, guys, but it's all going to be worth it afterwards. Okay? So, washing it off, getting all the sand out of there, all of that sand gone. Gonna probably give it one more pass just to be 100% certain that it's gone. Again, I don't want any sand in my final product today. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill it back up with some water. Also, ex-Billy Zane fan, thank you so much for the sub. And to Valek27, welcome on in. How'd you find the cooking show? Oh wait, I feel like I recognize your tag. Okay. Everybody, what else will we add into my pressure cooker pot? Really good question, especially in Eastern European cuisine, but I feel like this is quite a universal sentiment. Bay leaves and stock are a match made in heaven, okay? We want a nice, delicious, herbaceous stock, my friends. We're going to add a nice, hefty amount of bay leaves, all right? So, how many bay leaves? I don't know. I'm not really counting. Just a good amount of it going inside. Okay, and it's going to help to make it really, really nice and aromatic and herbaceous and delicious today. So many people are under the impression that they do nothing, but that is misinformation. Also, underestimated monkey, thank you for the sub. And we have a hype tree now. That's exciting. Okay, there you go. Then we can go ahead and do a couple more things. In order to really situate us into like the flavor, I feel like, of Eastern European food and Eastern European stocks, a very common technique that we would do is we would just add some whole peppercorns into a stock. This is not exclusive to Eastern European stocks, of course, but with the dill, with the bay leaves, with the black peppercorns, all of those guys together, they kind of become greater than the sum of their parts, okay? So, that's why I'm doing a couple of peppercorns today. And not too many. If you have too many, I promise you it's going to get very bitter. It will be super, super overpowering, my friends. Less is more. Maybe 5, 6 little black peppercorns. Trust me, it will have an effect. It's not because I'm afraid of spice, but overcooking black pepper in water does create a bit of an unpleasant taste. Okay? So, hold on. There you go. Just gonna go ahead and throw that back on in. And the last thing that we're going to need in the stock, my friends, is going to be some lovely garlic. Right? Really, really flavor maxing the stock today. We have a lot of different things going into it. Not as minimalistic as usual, I think. And that's totally okay. So my leeks are doing the last soak before we add them inside. Back to the garlic. So everybody, for the garlic, We don't need to smash it too much. We don't need to chop it up or anything. We just want to go ahead and peel that skin off and give it a little bit of a smash, a little bit of a squish, so that we get to develop some of the pungency from the garlic. So I'm taking it and I'm pressing it down with my bench scraper because this softens up the flesh on the outside and separates the skin, which just wraps around it really, really tightly. Okay? Take it and peel it off. Take it and peel it off. Take it, my friends, and guess what? Peel it off. And do we have any more? Yes, we do. We have this one little guy as well. Take it and peel it off. And for this one, we don't even have to worry about cutting off the butts or anything. So let's go ahead and take all of these little cloves. We don't want to smash them too much, my friends, otherwise they'll get too pungent. We'll add it inside of the pot. Again, look how much love we're giving the stock. Do I ever take out the middle of the garlic? Yeah, it's also called the germ, and I never do that, underestimated monkey. I never do that because I think it's total nonsense. People say that it gives you a heartburn. I've never really understood that. I don't really know where that comes from. Not at all. A lot of French and Italian cooks will take out the core of the garlic. Is elephant garlic ever worth it? Honestly, Tarina, I don't love working with elephant garlic. Now, is it ever worth it? I mean, yeah, if you see it and you want to buy it, then go ahead and go for it. But otherwise, I never go out of my way for elephant garlic. Eastern European cuisine is influenced by a lot of historic turmoil. It makes me love how creative people get and still make delicious dishes. That's right, Sir Specs. A lot of it, especially with the industrialization of food, that's why there's so much like mayonnaise, there's so much like canned stuff, and a lot of Eastern European cuisine. It's also a very poor cuisine. Potatoes and cabbages and beets, and not a lot of meat, historically speaking. Okay, everybody, my leeks, I think, have just about properly soaked. I think I've gotten as much of the sand out of the tops as I think I could. Okay, I'm just going to feel for them one last time, and then we'll add it all into the pot today. And let it cook, let it pressure cook. Yep, everybody, I think I did a good job of eliminating some of the sand from it. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a little handful. I'm not gonna need all of these leeks for the stock. I'm gonna go ahead and save it for the next one that I do. So in she goes, my friends. And now, last but not least, what do we have to do for this stock? Well, if the goal is to get this delicious, beautiful, flavorful liquid, we have to cover it up with some water. Chef, do you like black garlic? Eskia, I love all ingredients. Yes, I love black garlic, but I don't really like burnt garlic. A lot of people, they make like a black garlic oil that is done with burnt garlic and not like the slowly fermented, aged black garlic. And I've always found that specifically to be confusing, especially because they use that interchangeably. So guys, I'm just going ahead, I'm filling up my pressure cooker pot, and I just want to cover my ingredients mostly. Keep in mind that the vegetables, any vegetables will shrink, they'll get nice and soft. You just want to make sure that your bones, if you're using any, are nice and covered. That's exactly what I'm doing now, my friends. I'm just making sure my bones are properly covered. It's okay, once again, for some of my leeks to be exposed to the top. So, come back to my pressure cooker pot, everybody. Come back, come back. What do we got going on in here? Let's do a little recap of all the ingredients that we added. And the last thing, because I know for a fact I'm gonna be using all of the stock today, I'm going to go ahead and just add salt now. I'm not gonna be saving the stock for anything else in the future. Okay, so a bunch of salt goes in as well. But everybody, inside of this pot is all of my vegetable scraps. We're doing a pork and mushroom stock. You don't have to do a pork and mushroom stock. You can use any kind that you would like. You can use chicken stock, you can use beef stock, vegetable stock, whatever you like. In my case, I had frozen mushroom stems and I had frozen pork bones. So I added those inside. I put in my carrot tops and bottoms. I added my onion peel. I added my leek tops, bay leaves, dill stems, garlic, and black peppercorns alongside a little bit of salt. Okay, so very, very standard affair. This is the kind of a stock that you would see flavored dill, garlic, black peppercorns, okay? This is very Eastern European. You see this all over Eastern European food, especially a lot of Jewish cuisine would use a stock that is quite similar to this. All right, so I'm just going to wipe off any of the condensation that came out. And again, guys, you don't have to do this in a pressure cooker pot. You can do this in a regular pot, bring it up to a boil, drop it to a simmer, cook it for a couple of hours, and you're good to go. I'm using a pressure cooker because it is my favorite way to do quick homemade stocks. 40 minutes on high pressure is all of the time that this bad boy is going to need for today. Instead of 2 hours, instead of 3 hours of cooking, 40 minutes or so, and it's gonna be all set, my friends. That's why I love my pressure cooker. You don't have to use one. Again, I know I use a lot of equipment on the show. Not all of this will be good for your home routine. But if you like making stocks or you wanna get into the habit of making them as much as I do, guys, you should listen to what I have to say about it. In fact, you guys should always listen to me. This is what people typically would say, yeah, chef or something. Okay, so that's happening, that's going. I'm going to go ahead and put away a couple of things right now because guess what? I have this dill. Let's get rid of this dill. I'm gonna put it into my fridge. We have all of the dill fronds that we could possibly want for cooking with today. We have all of it and more. Next, I have the rest of my leek tops, guys. Instead of putting it all into today's stock because we already have plenty of it going in, I'm going to go ahead and do what I do best, and that is save it. Right? We're gonna save it for later and throw it into my freezer. So save those vegetable scraps, guys, and you will be rewarded with a lifetime of things to put into stocks, right? So what I would like to do is I would like to ideally stop using little plastic baggies for them. I would really like to at some point finally properly, get like a silicone freezer bag or something that I can put it in. That would be a lot easier because I am a little annoyed of using up that much plastic and quite frankly money. On an individual level, plastic waste is not very significant, right? That's not me trying to encourage you guys to do more plastic. But it just costs money, really, mostly is what I'm trying to get at. I try to be conscious of the environment and for ecological reasons, but we do need to kind of accept that our individual impact is lacking. Yeah. I use so many baggies for cooking. Billy Zane, as do I. So what I would like to do is I want to develop my own method that would be better, that would be cheaper, that would be more efficient, and then teach it to you guys, right? That's a lot of what we do here. I have, guys, I've been cooking for 14 years. I'm still not the perfect home cook. What I would like to do is learn things along my journey, and then just to be able to teach that to others once I come upon a method. So I think I would like to do a little bit of Googling for inspiration and see what other people do. So leeks. 9:20. Excellent. Got it all set. Got it ready to go, guys. Gonna throw that into my freezer. And that will just be used the next time we make a chicken stock, any kind of stock that we would like. It's ready to go for us today. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to do the prep for the soup, which is gonna be cutting up the cabbage, cutting up the potato, the leek, as well as the carrot. All of those guys need to get prepped and ready to go for today. Then we gotta cook the sausages. I like to cook them separately. We gotta fry the bacon. And then once the stock is done, we'll be boiling all the vegetables together. And then while the soup is cooking and going, I think that is going to be the best time for us to go ahead and do our salad. So if everybody's ready and everybody knows what's going on, I wanna hear one more lasagna chef from everybody watching, please, and thank you. And we are going to begin the second stage of cooking today, guys. We're going to get into the second step. Aren't you like 20 plus something? Yes, I am Underestimated Monkey. I've been cooking since I was 7 years old and I'm 21. So, back to here we go. Back to my trusty cutting board. We're going to begin with getting our carrot done, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and peel it up because this skin tends to be a little bit papery. Also, if you peel it, you don't have to wash it. If you wash it, you don't have to peel it. It's just a nice rule to live by. Peel it up, peel it up. And for today, everybody, I really want to pursue a small dice. Nice shiny bowl. Thank you. It's just a little waste bowl. I am indeed 21 years old, Cadence. I am indeed. Okay, so there we go. One little carrot, all set, all ready to go for today. So everybody, I want to pursue a very nice, small dice on this carrot. Carrots take a long time to cook. I gotta stop licking my lips. Carrots take a long time to cook. Okay, and so the bigger that we cut it, the longer it's actually going to take for it to go ahead and get nice and soft today. So I'm going to be looking for a fine dice. And I'm going to teach you guys exactly how to achieve said fine dice. We're going to roughly cut this into a thin section and a thick section. When I buy food carrots, when I shop for them, I like to get ones that are as cylindrical as possible, but sometimes that doesn't work out, and that's totally okay too. So a thin section and a thick section, I'm going to say right around here is going to be a good place to do that. And we're going to cut them and treat them differently. Carrots take longer than onions at certain sizes. They do, Billy Zane. So that's why I always cut my carrots smaller than I do onions. Okay, the first step, everybody, is to get it into planks, into nice little rectangles. How do we do that? The answer is with slicing it. Not chopping it, but slicing it. And there's a difference. Chopping, guys, will cleave it out, and you're not going to get a beautiful plank. Slicing it, on the other hand, will yield said plank. So we go base to tip all the way through, right? That side of the carrot's always going to be a little bit, it's going to be a bit of a wedge. But now that we're in here, what do we do, guys? We slice it. And take a look. This beautiful, horizontal, evenly thick plank of carrot comes out. Ready? And slice it. And slice it. And slice it. Perfect. Look at that thickness. Look at the width on that thing, guys. Even and consistent. That's why we slice it and do not chop it. They are not interchangeable steps at all. Slice it, slice it, slice it, slice it, slice it. All the way down. Beautiful. And then I'm going to go ahead and do one last slice over here. Okay? Gorgeous little planks. Now, as for this guy, if we did this, look what happens. It's wobbly. It's a little bit more dangerous. So I don't really want to do that with him. So with him, I'm just going to go ahead and take it, cut him in half like so. We're going to cut this guy into eighths instead of doing the other method. Cut him in half again lengthwise. Yeah, they'll be a little bit different in size, but it's still going to cook up mostly the same, everybody. Adapt. You don't want to just go ahead and apply the same exact technique to everything. You want to adapt to the different vegetable sizes. So him, I'm cutting it into eighths. I'm cutting it into eighths. And then that's going to be roughly a similar thickness to the batons that we're about to get. So everybody, take those carrots, stack them up. You don't want to go too high. You cannot miss this. Thank you, underestimated monkey. I reminded you of your acting teacher, Yun, who used to teach us projection by repeating harpoon it, harpoon it. Well, I'm glad that I can remind you of your acting teacher. Guys, take a look at these incredible batons. Oh, hello. Sometimes the stack gets a little bit wobbly. Just be careful when you're going down. Do I have inspirational chefs? That's a good question, Sir Specs. When I was growing up in food in a lot of ways, what would happen was I would look into a chef, I would get inspired by them for a short amount of time, and then I would outgrow them. Or I would get very, very critical of something that they would do. I have a lot of people that at different stages of my life were inspirational and influential, but honestly, I'm not going to lie, and this is more of a problem on me because those people definitely exist. I am lacking people to look up to in the food world at the moment. And some of that is my thing. I'm very picky about who I give my respect to. Julia Child's thoughts. Julia Child, Serena, I think achieved something very special, which is she got people to love food. She got people excited about food. I might disagree with her on a lot of culinary principles, on a lot of the theory, and a lot of her dishes, sure. But I think the most inspirational and the most powerful thing about somebody like Julia Childs, Serena, is that she got people in love with food. So, everybody, look at these lovely batons. We're gonna practice our claw grip now, okay? So, for every single chef on the internet talks about a good claw grip, but they don't make you understand a claw grip the way I'm about to. So take a look. When we do a claw grip, my friends, we never ever put the base of our hand on the food because then it'll pull the food away. What you need to be able to do is to drag your hand back. Your pinky and thumb keep the stack together, but you drag your hand back nice and easily like this. Your top 3 fingers guide the knife. So watch this, my friends. Cut it, drag it back, drag it back, drag it back. Nice, small little dice, small dice, small dice, small dice, just like this. Look at that dice. That is how you properly claw grip, my friends. That's how it's done. That's how you do. So much simpler, isn't it, Cadence? I'm happy to help out. And of course, a nice sharp knife always helps, always goes a long way. Always, always, always. Okay? Excellent. All set, all ready to go. Before my cutting board gets too crowded, I'm going to get a little transfer bowl out and ready. And this transfer bowl is going to be accommodating a lot of the ingredients for today. Come on. Just had on my drying rack for a little bit. Okay. So, yeah, put your pinky and your thumb back, guys. Be very mindful of those. You don't want those on the same level as your knife. Carrots going into my bowl. And we're going to go ahead and take the next stack, this baton stack we're going to do in two. Stack it up nice and even. Nice little tiny cubes of carrot. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it's supposed to look like. Again, at the end of the day, everybody, this is also a vegetable soup. If you don't want to go too crazy with the step, you don't have to. I looked away and I got a little bit careless, and so my stack, my pile, ended up falling apart a little bit. But the reason we cut it so small in this case is just to make sure that they do cook in time. Yeah, you don't want to have a stack that's too big, otherwise it's going to go ahead and fall apart. So as you cook, you are going to naturally get comfortable and understand what your ideal size is. All right, wonderful. I regularly cut carrot that fine outside of a salad. Is that mincing? No, this would not be mincing. Mincing would be even smaller. I would call this a small dice, probably. And again, these are not the exact culinary terms for it. You know, people would call this different things. But in my case, this would be functionally a small dice. I also just really like that. You know, I kind of, had a lot of Campbell's chicken soups growing up. I think about how small those carrots are, and I find that to be very pleasing. I like big chunks of carrots sometimes too. But guys, guess what? Your soup, your carrots. But the small dice with the timing of all of my ingredients, that's why it's important to have this as a small dice. All right, there she is. Excellent. Take that, scoop it up, put it inside. It's called brunoise. Sure, yeah, there's different words for different sizes in French, right? So it might be, I don't know. All right, everybody, time to process the leek. So this is the edible part of the leek. We wasted a little bit more than usual just because it felt extra woody, it felt extra tough today. Here's how you process it. Remember how much sand it had? That's how much sand it probably still has. Tucked in those layers because of the way that it grows, you do not want to eat that sand. Here's what we do. We're going to cut off the base of it. We're going to cut off the butt of the leek. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and take it and I'm going to slice it right down the middle to expose all of the different layers of the leek, everybody. All those different layers. You know what we're going to do? That's right. We're going to go ahead and soak this in our salad spinner once again. Separate those layers. Separate those lovely layers of leek, everybody. Separate them, add them in, and get them soaking so that we can be totally confident and aware of how much sand that we're adding or not adding into our food today. Also, Fen Dweller, welcome on in. Welcome to the cooking show. So, adding in all my leeks, that's a fruit fly. Guys, I'm so sick of flies, they're making me lose my mind. I've added my leek. I'm gonna go ahead and submerge that. I'm gonna go ahead and soak that up with a bunch of water. And we'll give that a few washes, and then we'll mix that in with the carrots after we've thoroughly washed it, okay? I love leeks, and I want to get you all comfortable with cooking leeks. Okie dokie. Next, we have my half a head of Napa cabbage. This guy we will also need to do a salad spinner wash. So we can probably wait on him for a little bit, just to also get some of the dirt and some of the bugs out in between the layers. Napa cabbage tends to have a little bit of it. Okay. Let's process up the potato. Let's do that. Let's do this little guy right now. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm looking at this potato, everybody. This is a cabbage soup at the end of the day. I don't actually think I want this much potato in my soup today. I think I'm gonna cut it in half and save the other half for something else. All right, so let's do that. Cut them in half. get this guy, I'm gonna get him out of here, put him away somewhere else. Just put him onto like, you know, a little bowl face down or so with some water, just to stop it from oxidizing. And then we'll use that for another stream. Okay, potato has been sliced. Potato has been cut in half. You know what we're gonna do, everybody? If you guessed peel the potato, well, you would actually be absolutely correct. That would be it. That's all we gotta do this time. We're gonna peel them and then we're gonna go ahead and keep them up. I'm gonna put on some gloves for this so the starch doesn't get on my dainty little eczema-ridden hands. And we're also going to go for a small dice today. You're Polish? Well, I'm very happy for you. Welcome in, Lusuko Evil. Gonna get my gloves on, and let's peel up that potato. Everybody, for a soup like this, honestly, you can use any kind of potato. This is a home soup. We're not looking for the perfect texture on a potato. We're looking for it to kind of break apart in it a little bit. It'll make it nice and delicious. So don't really sweat it too much. Just think about how big you want to cut it, and then you'll add it inside, and it'll be perfect. Okay. 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 Peel it up. Oh boy, look at how many little eyes. Look at all this stuff in there that we gotta get rid of, guys. Look at all that. Terrible. Horrible. We gotta clean them up. We gotta keep this guy peeling. Not the world's freshest potato. All of those eyes, and feel it looking back at me. Okay. Excellent. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get a nice small dice on it. We're gonna do this a little bit bigger than the actual carrots. Did your parents encourage you to cook? Yeah, Chopin. I think when they realized that this was something that I very much so loved doing, especially my mom growing up, she loved, you know, she loved that I was so interested in food. So I think she did an excellent job of encouraging me. Okay. You know, and my father did in some ways as well. Okay, everybody, we have this potato. What are we gonna do to it? Probably what? Cut it into also planks. Yeah, cut into planks. Cut it into planks, just like so. Cut it into planks. And then we'll do strips and cubes. Not too thin, not too thick. Again, it's a soup. It's a vegetable soup. That does not mean that you should completely neglect the effort and the care and attention that you're giving it, but also don't go too crazy with it. At the end of the day, a cabbage soup is a cabbage soup, right? That's right. I finally bought a pack of black gloves. These are not my ideal nitro ones. These are vinyl ones, but we finally have some coming in the mail shortly as well. All right. That might have been a little too small the first go around, but that's okay. I don't really care. Potatoes, chopped up, all set. Excellent. Gonna throw that into a small little separate bowl. Potato. Take it. What do we do, guys? That's right. Cut it into strips. It looks like I'm going to give you a tattoo instead of Kapusniak. I've been told this many times. Okay? And so guys, to stop the potatoes from oxidizing, to stop it from turning brown when you let it sit, which happens, right? You want to cut your potatoes in advance. All that you do is you cover it up with some nice cold water, and that will stop it from oxidizing as we let it sit and chill and hang out. Beautiful. Potatoes done. That's enough for that. Everybody, before the starch on my cutting board, on my knife, on my bench scraper dry off, I'm going to just quickly grab a nice moist towel and wipe it down. Just because it makes cutting everything else afterwards so much easier. Dried starch on the board, dried starch on the bench scraper, it is unpleasant. So just take it and quickly give it a little wipe down. On a cooking theme, there's a famous old picture called The Three Vinegar Tasters featuring Buddha, Lao Tzu, and Confucius. I didn't know that. That's pretty fun. That's cute. Just getting the starch off, getting it away, quickly wiping down my station. I don't have to wash a cutting board or anything. Just makes a little bit easier. Okay, everybody, my leeks, they've gotten one soak. I'm going to soak them one more time. Then we're going to salad spin them. and cut them up into some nice little pieces. So soaking my leeks, again, just cleaning them, making sure that there is no remaining sand whatsoever. Nice and easy, nice and simple. Yeah, today's simple, guys. Today's easy. Today's nothing crazy. Today's not rocket science or anything. Just simple, delicious home cooking, the kind that everybody should be making at home all the time, right? This is the kind of a thing, everybody, that you heat up, that you have in your fridge, that you have in the beginning of a week. This is the kind of a thing that you have, you know, before all of your meals. I love doing cabbage soups for something like this. They're really, really friendly. Anybody can do them, all right? And it's something that I think is unfortunately a little too lost on people. So that's what I'm here to do. Might not seem all that glamorous, but there is a lot of value in a delicious cabbage soup. So hopefully, there's no cabbage haters. Okay. I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Today. Very complicated, just as hard as cooking. I wouldn't say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is as hard as cooking. Yeah, I don't know. Card games, competitive card games are quite interesting. There's a lot of theory that goes in. Okay, I have some leek. You know what we're gonna do with the leek? We put in the salad spinner. I still have not fully fixed my salad spinner, by the way, just for full transparency, so this might break halfway into the process of using it. Most non-cream-based soups freeze pretty well. I think people would enjoy cabbage-based food if they had one. I agree. Chef, have you ever tried carrot fries? I have not, School of Rock and Roll. And that's just because carrots by themselves, they don't do the best job getting like crispy. I feel like they might be good as like almost like a tempura style or like in a separate batter. But I've done roasted carrots plenty of times. I just don't like to do fries at home. That can be quite cumbersome. Okay, we gave it one little spin session. We're going to give it one more spin session, everybody. Again, we're trying to get rid of all of that excess liquid because that liquid is not going to let it brown up once we do get to sauteing it. Okay, so back in she goes. And all that sand is gone. That's going to be fine. That's going to be plenty. We got all that excess water out of it, guys. And now what do? We're going to cut it up and get it ready to go for today. So take those leeks and we'll just cut them up. We'll chunk them up. Honestly, we don't even need to cut them into strips or anything. Did I fix it, Sir Specs? And the answer is only kind of still. It's only half fixed. So it might break when we do the cabbage. So we got leeks. Everybody, as for the leeks, I want to be able to bite into a nice, delicious, soft piece of leek. So I'm not going to do like a crazy fine dice or anything. All that I'm going to do now, take it and cut it up just like this. Just cut it up. It's going to shrink down as onions and alliums are notorious for. It's going to shrink. It's going to lose almost all of its volume. But I still want to be able to bite into a nice, sizable chunk of leek inside of my cabbage soup today. Hence why we're not dicing it or anything. That is what I'm envisioning. Okay, scoop it up into the bowl with the carrot, everybody. Let's do the same thing with the next one. Stack it up. Come on, stack it up somehow. Thank you. Stack it up. Wonderful. And cut it up. I love leeks. They bring me so much joy. One of my favorite ingredients to eat. There's such a sweetness to them. There she is. Grab my bench scraper, scrape it up, add it in. And now let's go ahead and properly and thoroughly mix up my carrots and my leeks. We're going to add them into the pot. We're going to be sauteing them a little bit in some of the bacon fat. Okay, that's all set. That's all done. That's all ready to go. Last vegetable is going to be my hunk of cabbage. Last vegetable for the soup, that is. So once again, similarly, now it doesn't pick up sand and dirt the same way that a leek does, but there can be sometimes little bugs. So my favorite way to be able to process a cabbage like this is to first cut it and then to clean it. Okay. So here we go, everybody. One gorgeous Napa cabbage, or one half of a Napa cabbage. Not the traditional cabbage that is used in Eastern European cooking at all. But guess what? Cabbages are interchangeable. If you don't have this, well, traditionally you would use a green cabbage. Go use a green cabbage. I don't care. It's your life. Okay? So, we have the cabbage. Let's figure out how we want to cut it. It would be easiest to just simply cut it now, which is what I'm leaning on doing. Yeah, we're going to cut it now while the core of it is still attached. And then we'll go ahead and cut off the core. So first, we're going to cut it to size by going once in half like this. Then we tear it open. Excellent. And then we'll do these guys one at a time. Grab your lovely Napa cabbage and slice it down. Slice it down into nice little strips of cabbage. I love Napa cabbage for its tenderness compared to other kinds. It's uniquely tender, it's uniquely soft. Green cabbage and especially red cabbage, they can be really tough and chewy, but not Napa cabbage. And as I'm getting closer and closer to the core, as I'm getting closer and closer to the really thick leaves, I'm going to be cutting it slightly thinner just to match the texture better, okay? That's one. Everybody, I'm going to go ahead and take them and throw them once again into my salad spinner. Well, yeah, I'll take it, I'll dump it into my salad spinner, and we'll do the next one. We don't want the cabbage to take up too much volume on the cutting board, of course. There we go. And let's do the next one. Start off with thick strips while we're doing the thin, tender leaves. And as we get closer and closer, we're going to cut them thinner and thinner. Guys, I adore Napa cabbage. I adore it. And we have finally used up my leftover cabbage. It doesn't have to sit in my fridge any longer because I have hit my cabbage saturation point. I am kind of boiled and done with cabbage after the soup. So we get to move on to something else after. Okay, I'm gonna grab my salad spinner bowl with the rest of the cabbage. I only have one hand available to me, so my bench scraper is actually not the best. If that's the case, I'm gonna have to just use my one hand. And we're gonna soak it, we're gonna cover it with water. Simple stuff. Yeah, love cabbage, but we gotta do something else. We gotta do something else for a little bit. We have definitely had enough cabbage. One of the best parts about cabbage is how long it lasts in the fridge. Not great if you get tired of it. Yeah, in fact, the longevity of cabbage is really bothering me more than anything. That's the part that's really annoying me. Chef, have you seen those apps where you put in what ingredients you have and it gives you something to cook with what you have? Yeah, so I see that stuff, Eskia, and I'm sure that it has a nice direct, immediate function, but it still doesn't teach people effectively how to make the most out of those ingredients, right? That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to show you how to use up all of your existing leftovers. I'm here to really make you understand why each ingredient works in the way that it does. So that's not really my preferred method at all, Eskia. So, taking my cabbage, just gonna be submerging it in some nice ice cold water so we can go ahead and properly clean it once and for all. The last ingredient that we need for the soup itself before we get to the meat portion is gonna be some garlic. We're gonna process up a bunch of garlic for today. It'll be nice and delicious. It'll be nice and tasty. We all love garlic. We absolutely must love garlic, that is. Okay. And I'm gonna have to probably crack open a new head now. Just getting my cabbage submerged still. How much garlic are we gonna use, guys? As much as your heart desires. No such thing as too much. Oh, I go through at least like one head of garlic every few days. So Billy Zane, I'm well accustomed with cracking open whole heads. Okay, I want to do 3 or 4 big cloves for today. That's my idea, that's my ambition. Right? I want to do the big ones. I want to do some aggressive garlic flavor in here just because this is not the most seasoned soup in the world, right? It doesn't have a crazy amount of spice, it just has like some paprika, and I'm going to be doing some cayenne in there as well. So I just want to be able to maximize the flavor and the different chances and places I can get. All right, cracking the garlic, smashing it down so that we can go ahead and properly peel the skin. What's next? Too much love, too much joy? You're absolutely right. In a setting like this, no such thing as too much. Okay, peeling them open. I won't be using the garlic press for today, of course. Excellent. Everybody, we're gonna go ahead and quickly trim off the butts. We're gonna trim off all of the little butts of garlic. Trim it off, trim it off. Excellent. Doug got that ingredient-only household. You right as Kia. I don't keep snacks. I do not keep snacks. I don't keep little things like that. I don't keep a lot of pre-made stuff. This is as close to an ingredient-only household as you can get. Saves you a lot of money living that way. Yeah, it takes up a lot more time, but luckily I love cooking. And I love showing you guys how to cook too. So, as far as ingredient-only households go, yeah, this is it. Really annoying when I want to get a little snack of something, but because in my fridge I only have like meals. Okay. Garlic, what are we gonna do? Garlic press, take it, crush it, smash it, do what you gotta do. It's my favorite way to process up a lot of garlic. And if anybody has any questions in the meantime, now would of course be, as always is, but now would be a lovely time to ask. There you go. Got all of my garlic nicely and properly pressed. I'm submerging my next batch of cabbage. Do I keep fruit? Yoon, honestly, not really. If I want food, I just go out and buy like a plum or a peach, and then I eat it in the moment and I eat it immediately. But I never really keep fruit. No, it does not find its way into my routines. Okay, now that we're done with the garlic press, you want to go ahead and you want to wash it off as soon as possible. You want to stop it from drying off with anything. Okay, so the sooner that you clean it, the better. Just poke the holes with a little brush, run it under some water, and then you can just finish washing it or throw it in the dishwasher or something. A lot of people, they complain about cleaning garlic presses. I don't think there's anything to complain about, so as long as you just immediately clean it and you don't let anything dry out inside. Clean it, clean it, clean it, clean it now. Get it all done. I think today is a nice change of pace. We've been doing like so much technical stuff lately, and today is definitely not technical. Today's a lot more simple. Today's a lot easier. So it's just nice to go back to basics every now and then, I think. Okay, everybody, that is the majority of the ingredients for the soup today. Let's go ahead and do a little recap on all of the ingredients. So, for my cabbage soup, right now it's everything but the cabbage. The cabbage is still in my salad spinner soaking. We have leeks and carrots. We have a homemade stock going with smoked pork bones, with carrot scraps, leek scraps, onion scraps, garlic, bay leaf, dill stems. Also, Mile Na One, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. All right, then everybody, we have an aggressive amount of smashed garlic. This is maybe about 4 cloves worth or so. Garlic, carrots, excellent. We have some cut up potatoes, and now, guess what? My cabbage should have reached the end of its cleaning process. I don't believe it's gonna need any more soaking. So, we're going to go ahead and spin it dry to get all of that excess water gone and away. We got it nice and cleaned. Half a head of Napa cabbage for today. Feel free to use any kind of cabbage that you would like. Maybe just not red cabbage. I don't like red cabbage. I really don't like red cabbage, actually. I find it so tough. All the different times I've tried to make a braised red cabbage, I still don't understand it. Still don't get it. So maybe there is an ingredient I dislike, and that would be red cabbage. Okay, give it a little spin. Look at all that water coming out. Drain it away. Saves you on so many towels. Flip it over, just to agitate it, move it around for a second. And then you can even have one as a snack. Napa cabbage, excellent. Yeah, green is the standard cabbage I see used all over the place. Also, green can sometimes be tough if you don't slice it thin enough. But yeah, red cabbage, I'm definitely over it at this point in my life. A red cabbage chutney? Well, I don't know if people really use cabbages for chutney, Fendwell. It's not particularly aromatic or saucy. I might be completely ignorant in saying that, but I've never seen a red cabbage chutney before. I want to see you make your favorite pizza. So Specs, I don't do that because I don't do pizzas at home. I think pizzas at home are unrealistic because you'll never actually get the oven temperatures, regardless of what Pizza Steel and Pizza Stone people that want to like sell it to you say. I don't think you can actually get the right temperature for a pizza that's not a fat-based pizza in some ways. You know, so actually, you know, maybe not so much. Okay, everybody, last thing that we got to do, let's chunk up some bacon. I have 3 slices of bacon sitting in my fridge at the moment. Let's go ahead and take them out. Let's slice it up, and then we'll begin cooking the bacon. We'll get some of its lovely fat out, and then we'll cook the vegetables in the fat. We'll add in the stock. We'll add in everything else that we need for today. So, I'm going to put my gloves on so I don't have to wash them a gajillion times. Ugh. Get my bacon out. Get it happening. Excellent. Also, everybody, bacon and cabbage, appearing as old as time itself. So, what kind of chunks of bacon do I actually want in this? I want something that is going to be able to hold up a little bit inside of the final soup today, inside of the final cabbage stew. So I'm going for like medium chunks or so. 3 slices of bacon, probably a little bit much on the bacon, but I don't care. I think it'll still be delicious. Oh, I can eat bacon as it is. Not the safest, but I can. I absolutely can. Okay, that's it. That's all the processing that the bacon needs. That's all the prep that it needs. Just gonna break it down a little bit. Little bit. There you go. There she is. Gorgeous. Everybody, we're going to begin heating up my vessel for the bacon. I have a cute little cocotte today, as always, has become my standard for stews. I think cocotte already has little in its name, so maybe a little too, you know. Is it raw or smoked? Well, Fendwalu, bacon is both raw and still smoked. It's not fully cooked through when you smoke it, is the thing. So, I got a cute little cocotte. I got it happening. I got it all set. I got it ready to go for today. Everybody, especially when you're working with cast iron, this is enameled cast iron. Never high heat. High heat develops hot spots and cool spots. The food burns to hot spots, the food sticks onto the cool spots. You want to heat this guy up really nicely and slowly, okay? So, what kind of fat am I going to use for this? Well, we don't need a lot of fat to begin with, because the bacon is there to add the fat to then cook the vegetables in. So we just want a little bit of something just to give the bacon a bit of a head start so that it doesn't just immediately stick to the bottom. I'm just going to use some olive oil. Feel free to use whatever you want. I'm just using a nice tasty fat like olive oil. A little bit goes in. We don't need too much at this stage because remember the bacon is going to be the one that is contributing most of that delicious fatty flavor. Okay? So the goal at this stage is I want to get the bacon a little bit browned, a little bit crispy. I don't want it to be too dry at this point. I just really want to be able to melt away some of its lovely fat, and then for that fat to be what we use to cook the rest of the vegetables in. Okay? So low, medium heat or so. It's going, it's happening, it's doing its thing. Most of my vegetable prep for today has already been all fully, you know, done and taken care of. That's it. Nice and simple. So, order of operations is as follows. Bacon goes on, cooks into fat. We render out some of its fat. Then we go ahead and we add the carrots as well as the leeks to saute a little bit to get a nice good amount of color on it. Then after that's the case, we add in the garlic. We let the garlic fry a little bit. By that point, the stock should be done. We have about 18 minutes left on the stock. We strain in all of my gorgeous vegetable stock. We add in the potatoes. We add in the cabbage. And then we let it all boil. We let it all cook. We let everything get nice and tender, nice and soft and delicious. And then we're gonna finish it by adding some of my homemade kimchi. I don't wanna do it in the beginning because we'll lose a lot of the freshness. We'll lose a lot of the sharper notes if we were to just go ahead and add it in immediately. So, everybody, at this point, again, this pan does not need to be too hot. It does not need to be fully heated through. Okay, what's on that plate? This is some Italian sausage, Billy Zane. The sausage we're going to just bake. I like to always bake my sausages. Then we'll slice it and add it into the stew, into the kapusniak. Okay, we don't fry the sausage because I find that it really inconsistently and unevenly cooks it. My favorite way and the least messy way to cook whole sausages is to, in my opinion, to always, always, always bake it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add in my bacon. We're going to add it inside, add it into the fat. And again, it really shouldn't be sizzling at this point or anything. The only goal, my friends, is we're going to get it a little bit browned, a little bit crispy, but we do not necessarily need the bacon to be fully cooked through at this point. I just want to get all of its gorgeous bacon fat out so that everything else can cook in said bacon fat. So, going in there, breaking up the bacon, breaking it up. It would have been probably easier to do this with the gloves beforehand, but that's okay. I'm going in there and I'm breaking it up and I'm separating it to the best of my abilities. But if you don't separate it now, it will later. So don't worry about it too much. Especially as it warms up a little bit, the slices are not going to be as inclined to stick to each other. They stick to each other because, guys, in most cases, things are adhesive when they are cold. Proteins and fats specifically. Well, more so the fat in this case rather than the protein element being relevant here. Okay, that's going. That's looking good. I pronounce it fairly accurately, thank you. I am Russian, so we would call this she and not Kapusniak. But I have all of the Eastern European, you know, I know all the z's and zh's and zha and sha. And the difference in like, so a sound that we don't really have in English very much is like that sha sound, or like the ja sound. Our sh is more of like at the tip of our tongue, it's like a sh, rather than a sha. So we have that in Russian at least. Okay? So, bacon's going. Bacon is sizzling away, everybody. Again, we don't need this too crispy. We don't want to get this, you know, like really super caramelized or anything. We just want to get all of that delicious fat out that we can then cook the vegetables in. Come on. I have a piece of bacon stuck to the tongue. That's fine. Hop on out, buddy. Thank you. And it's all going to get added into the stew. It's all going to get nice and delicious. Okay, in the meantime, everybody, in the interest of cleaning, in the interest of keeping up momentum, I'm going to go ahead and clean off my cutting board. We just cut up some bacon on it, so it will, of course, need to be disinfected with some hot soap and water. We don't really want to let any sort of meat soak into it, right, if we use a wooden cutting board for them. So we want to clean it off fairly quickly, fairly early on. I'm going to lower my heat so that when I walk away from it, I don't risk it burning at all. Okay? Bacon is cooking. It's getting there. It's not going to take too much time. There she goes. There she goes. There she goes. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and quickly wash off my cutting board and knife. Hello, Lego Batman fan as well. I'm not sure if I already said hi, but if not, hello. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Just gonna wash up my knife, wash up my bacon cutting board. Disinfect it. And then we'll proceed. Cleaning as we go, as always, everybody. Especially at home. Wash off my board. get it back on, and then we can do some of the salad prep in the meantime. The only thing I neglected, everybody, I don't have any bread. I don't have any bread for my soup today, which is a tragedy. What is the point of a delicious, comforting vegetable soup with no bread? There is none. I'm sorry, everybody. I've let you all down. Okay. Cutting board should be all washed up now. It should be all ready to go. And now, I think I might have stepped away from my bacon too long. I hope I did not squelch it at all. And I think it's fine. I think I lowered my heat just enough. We got to be mindful of the fond that develops on the bottom. Honestly, the only thing I really don't like about this cocotte is that the bottom of it is black. It's nice for presentational reasons, but it's actually a lot more difficult to tell if anything is sticking and burning at the bottom of the pan. So not honestly all that ideal for cooking, but guess what? This is my roommate's, not mine. And so I will be happy to take advantage of it because it's still very pretty for things like this. Okay? Everybody, only thing we're going to get is a little bit more color on it. We're undoing the fat. We're melting the fat out of the bacon so it gets added into everything else. So it's only going to take a little bit of cooking longer. You want to be nice and patient. It is a nice cocotte, isn't it? It's cute. It does the job. We don't need too much color. We don't need an aggressive amount of browning. Again, otherwise if we do that, the bacon's going to be super, super dry. Do I like sushi? So school of rock and roll. I think sushi is okay. I think the majority of the sushi that we can get outside of incredibly nice restaurants is really, really mediocre, more than anything. And I'm not too into the average sushi eating experience to really justify that. I do like, a little bit more of, the expensive ones, and those I find to be really quite delicious and a lot more meaningful. So I don't like it enough, basically, is what I'm trying. Oh gosh, I broke my salad spinner again. All right, it was inevitable. It was always gonna happen. One day I will fix it properly. But yeah, I just think that the average sushi experience for me is not so good that I'm like, let's go out for sushi. In fact, I find it to be quite mediocre, more than anything. The quality of the fish, the quality of the rice, the roll itself, and then also the environment. Not really my thing. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be enough cooking on the bacon. Again, resist the urge to get it maximum in its crispiness. Resist the urge to do so, okay? Yes, it might be ideal for something like topping or something like a salad, but it would not be ideal in a stew to have a fully crispy piece of bacon, everybody. A fully crispy piece of bacon inside of a stew, it just kind of gets hard. Right? You bite into it, it's not crispy, it's just hard and like smoky. It doesn't get very, very soft. So we want to make sure it doesn't dry out too much. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out and put it onto a separate little bowl somewhere else just for it to go ahead and hang out and chill out in the meantime. Okay, I can probably just pick this up. I swear I had a silicone pasta tool. I don't know where it is. We can probably just remove this guy as it is, my friends. And I'm going to do everything in my power to not snack on this, but I am going to snack on this. You already know me. You know what I'm capable of. You know my weaknesses. Okay, and this is the exact amount of fat that we wanted, everybody. The bottom of the pan is absolutely coated, and that is going to help make our soup nice and delicious today. It's going to coat the vegetables as we fry them up as well. All right, so gorgeous bacon fat, everybody. And we have all of the fond from the bacon stuck on the bottom of the pot. So you know what we do? We add the vegetables. We add the vegetables in. And let me just get the last few slices of bacon. You don't want to ever heat this up too much. It'll get a little bit smoky. It'll get a little bit too burnt. All right? So the vegetables, we want to saute it. We want to get some proper, gorgeous color on it, my friends. So in it goes. In it goes. And in order to get properly sauteed vegetables, everybody, resist the urge to do high heat. High heat is not your friend. Can I please get another yes, chef? This has to be a 3-stage cooking process. Your leeks, your carrots, they're full of excess liquid inside of them, my friends. If you want to properly brown it, the first stage is to release the water, then to evaporate it, and only then will the vegetables be able to properly saute. So here's what we do. We go in with a generous amount of salt now. We add the salt in. We mix it in. Listen to how the sizzling is dying. That's all of the water slowly being released and escaping the vegetables themselves. That's okay. That's what we want to happen. Don't adjust your heat. Keep it to a medium low. Then everybody, we take the lid and we cover it with the lid because the steam is going to wrap around the vegetables and it's going to help it to evenly cook and then help it to collapse. Without the lid, it does not collapse nearly as quickly. So, where did I put my cocotte lid? Hello? Where did I put you? Ah, it's a glass lid and its transparency got the best of me. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly preheat my little oven to around 425, 400 degrees or so. That's going to be for cooking the sausage. So when do we eat the bacon? Asks Underestimated Monkey. Probably now, is the question, is the answer. I love half-cooked bacon that's not like super crispy. Because it is just like, you know, like barbecued pork belly almost, right? I don't really like super crispy bacon. This is my ideal, even before crispy, even before chewy bacon. Okay, I gotta stop. This is what happens. I forget how much I need for the dish. I forget into eating it. That's why I can't even have a little bit of it. It needs to stop. I'm going to eat it all before, you know, anything else. So please forgive me, chat. I'm gonna preheat my oven about 450. We're gonna do 450 degrees, I think, for the sausage. Because I wanna be able to get some color on it. I wanna get it nice and roasted. Okay, let's go ahead and get a little pan ready for the sausage and get it all set and all ready to go. Oven's preheating. Back to here. I have a little sheet tray, I have a little cake pan. My old sheet tray, my small one that I've had for 10 years, it has rusted and oxidized enough that I do need to go ahead and get a new one. So that is coming in shortly. So this is gonna be for my sausages for them to go in. It does. That's right, Underestimated Monkey. It sure does. Okay, we're gonna grab my sausages, we're gonna pat them dry, and we're gonna put a little bit of fat on them just to help them get nice and crispy inside of the oven today. That's all they need. We pat them dry so that they don't splash up as much. These were previously frozen. I thawed them so they're covered in a bunch of liquid. Okay, excellent. Sausage is going on. Just 3 hot Italian sausages. Everybody, again, not the traditional kind of sausage that is used for Kapusniak. It is not in the slightest. But guess what? That is totally okay. It is okay for us to break tradition because we are cooking at home and I had leftover sausages. I am not going to go out of my way to go buy the exact kind of Polish sausage for Kapusniak. I'm going to use these because I have them, and it's still going to create a nice, delicious product. We break in authenticity a long time ago. We're using Napa cabbages, we're using these hot Italian sausages, we're using kimchi inside of it as well, and we're doing leeks and not onions, right? So there is no concept of authenticity here. It is just purely, you know, by vibe. We want a cabbage soup that has meat and sausage inside of it, and so we will get that. We will achieve all of that just in our own way. Next, a little tiny bit of oil, just to help them not stick to the pan, and then also to help it get nice and crispy inside of the oven as it cooks. It only needs a little bit because the sausage releases plenty of its own fat. As a Polish person, I approve. Excellent. Well, I'm happy to provide. Making Kapusniak from whatever you have left is the most authentic thing about the soup. That's right, Fen Dweller. It's a cabbage soup at the end of the day. Cabbage soups are supposed to be for the people, you know? So don't poke any holes in it. I love baking sausages. Pan frying them, in my experience, has yielded nothing but overcooked, dry, crumbly sausage, and that is not what I want today, everybody. For whole Italian sausages, I like to roast them. 450 for about, 12, 15 minutes or so. Do I have any Polish shops around? So underestimate a monkey. I used to. I used to live in a neighborhood that had a lot more, just specifically, generally Eastern European grocery stores. Not necessarily Polish ones. It was mostly Russian ones. But yeah, I used to. Not anymore though. Not anymore. Once upon a time I did. Okay, while the oven is still preheating, while it's still getting nice and hot, let's go ahead and come back to my vegetables as they're cooking along. We're going to now remove the lid. They should have successfully collapsed. Everybody, they have steamed, they have collapsed, and they have released their own liquid. So the job now is for us to evaporate all of that excess liquid, and when it evaporates, only then will we be able to properly, actually saute the vegetables. Only then will we be able to fry the vegetables. All of those recipes that say to just saute it in hot oil for a few minutes, it does not yield the product that you're looking for. If you want to saute it in order to really build some of those more fried flavors, some of the more caramelized ones, right? It needs time. So it's collapsed, it's released its liquid. Now we evaporate the liquid. That's our job now. That's our duty. The stock has about 2 more minutes on it before we release it. We're going to cook up the sausages. Today's food is just so simple, so easy. Do you know what the meat to fat ratio on the sausage that turned out crumbly? My roll, I would not be able to tell you, I'm afraid. I just feel like that's my general cooking experience. Especially for something like a stew or a soup, I really do like to cook it separately and then to slice it afterwards. Slicing a raw sausage before frying it, it does yield it to be a much drier product. Because it has a lot more surface area, there's a lot more sides of it that get like the direct heat and that get the direct cooking. Okay, it's going, it's happening. My oven is preheated. So 450, maybe like 12 minutes or so. Hot Italian sausages with a little bit of oil on them. We don't poke holes in them. Trust me, it will cook the easiest without that. Okay? Everybody, you can hear the sizzle. You can hear the sizzle beginning to form. And that was only possible because we took our time. We slowly but surely evaporated the liquid. I'm going to switch over to a wooden spoon. My pressure cooker is also done releasing pressure. A lot is happening at once. Well, it's done cooking. Now we just have to release the pressure on it. Take a spoon, and we're just going to make sure that we're scraping up the bottom as we stir it, because a little bit of sugar might have come out of the vegetables, right, and all of the liquid during the collapsing stage. So now we want to fry it. Now we want to get it nice and golden. Now we want to infuse that bacon fat with all of the aroma and the flavors of my veggies. She's going, she's cooking along. My stock smells delicious, I must add. Actually smells pretty fantastic, everybody. It smells really, really good. My veggies are frying. They're getting nice and golden. They're getting nice and sweet. They're getting nice and delicious. Any sausage is fine, that's right, underestimate a monkey. Oh, you got it. I'm just more so referring to cooking sausage out of the casing and already like slicing it up into coins. There she is. Oh, scrape up that bottom, everybody. Scrape it up, scrape it up. You have plenty of the vegetable's own liquid to almost deglaze it back into itself. Okay? Excellent. We're giving this vegetable soup a lot of love. We're giving it a lot of care. I'm going to have some more bacon. I love your energy. Thank you, Fixed Fridges. I adore eating bacon. I won't stop. You can't make me stop. If there's no bacon chunks for the soup, I don't care because we're still going to have sausage in there. I don't care anymore. I've given up. I've given up. Frying it up, getting it all nice and golden, building that flavor, developing that flavor, scraping down the sides, making sure no vegetables are stuck there while we're in the frying portion. I'm gonna have even more. And none of you can stop me. Do as I say, not as I do. Or do as I do as well. I don't care. If the soup has less bacon in it, then I think we'll find a way to be able to live. Okay? It's not gonna be the end of the world. Ooh. I love bacon. Ah, we're so back. That's delicious. Fine, maybe shy chica, just because you're really nice. Okay. Frying it along, getting it nice and golden. You can hear it sizzling away. It's getting nice and proper and delicious. And we're building flavor inside of this little cocotte, inside of this little pot. All of that, my friends, in service of a delicious cabbage soup. All of it for the sake of a cabbage soup. Okay. So, my pressure cooker has released pressure. I'm going to remove the lid. Set that aside. Anyone else? Quickly take the pot of stock out. And we just got a very simple, very delicious stock, everybody. Super flavorful, super yummy. Exactly what we want. But it's going to become the base flavor of an amazing stew like this. And I'll show it off to you in just a moment. This incredible stock that we worked so hard to be able to achieve. Scrape off anything that could be stuck to the bottom, guys. As always, never a metal spoon. If you're working on what is enameled equipment, either like a non-stick enameling or like the kind that they would do on a Dutch oven or a cocotte like this, you never, ever, ever want to use metal because you will scratch and destroy the bottom of the pan. So, now that we got it nice and golden, the vegetables are softening, they're wilting down, we've developed a lot of flavor, we're going to grind in a bunch of black pepper and allow it to fry and toast a little bit. Before we add in the garlic. The garlic we always do last, everybody. We do it before or after all the other vegetables because the garlic tends to burn the easiest. Okay, so that's why you only see the garlic during an addition like this and not sooner. It's okay if food is sticking a little bit to the bottom. That's totally fine. That's totally normal. The veggies are getting nice and soft. We'll be deglazing all of this with our gorgeous stock, everybody. Okay, so mix it up, break it up. Fry that garlic and fry it in properly. And now, I believe that this is going to be a good time for us to begin our straining. Our straining efforts. The garlic has fried, the black pepper has fried. Let's begin adding the stock in, everybody. Let's add it in. Let's add it in. Let's add it in. Let's flood that pot. Gorgeous. All of that is my delicious homemade stock, my friends. Okay? And now we can add the cabbage. And this is the start of a beautiful kapusniak. So, back in with the cabbage now. The cabbage might not all fit in at once. It takes up a lot of volume. But as you all may know, the cabbage, with just a little bit of cooking, everybody, it wilts down like none other. So in goes my cabbage. In goes my cabbage. In goes all of my gorgeous cabbage. In she goes. In she goes. Excellent. Let's bury it down. It's going to look so full. But everybody, don't you worry, because this soup is going to reduce and we're going to evaporate all of the excess liquid that we have no use for. So get all of that cabbage in. All of that cabbage in. Pop it in, pop it in, pop it in. Excellent. Okay. We have a big pot of cabbage soup going at the moment. A lot happening in there. Last addition, my friends, is my potato, as well as a little bit more salt. The cabbage is bland. The stock is mostly unseasoned. So now is the time where we need to quite aggressively salt this. Otherwise, we will end up with a bland soup, everybody. And chat, do we want a bland soup? I want to hear a no, chef, from everybody watching, even if you've been quiet, even if you've been lurking. I want to hear no chef from absolutely everybody. So, salt, 1, 2, 3, 4 big pinches of salt for now, maybe even 5. I can say that with confidence. I know that it's not going to come out too salty. Mix it in. Mix it all in, my friends. Mix it in. Mix it in, mix it in, mix it in. Bring it up to a boil, and then we're going to simmer it until we get the consistency that we desire. So, that's going. That's happening. That's doing its thing. I'm going to take the lid back and slap it on. Bring it up to a boil. Then we drop it to a simmer. Does anybody have any questions for me for the moment? So, that's it for the cabbage soup, basically. Sausages are in the oven. Bacon is still yet to be added in. I'm going to only add it at the end, if there's any left by the end of it. And that's only an if. Okay, and then we're also going to go ahead and quickly measure out the amount of paprika and cayenne that I want for today. Right, I want a little bit of extra spice. I want a bit of extra flavor to the soup. And the kapusniaks I remember eating as well from my friend's place. I had a Polish friend. Were always like very like red in color. So cayenne I don't really care about measuring. I'm going to go with my heart's content on that. So that's fine as it is, I'm sure. And now in goes my paprika. Maybe like a couple teaspoons or so. Am I going to make a cooking book someday? So, underestimate a monkey. The answer is kind of yes and no. It would not be a cookbook in the sense that it won't be a recipe book. I strongly disagree with recipe books for teaching most home cooks. It would be a food theory book if I were to publish a book someday. It would be specifically about theory, about a lot of other things pertaining to food. Okay, we got cayenne, we got paprika, really simple. It's gonna go ahead and flavor up the soup. Okay, it'll be nice, it'll be tasty, it'll be delicious. Some people like to thicken the kapusniaks with like some cornstarch as well. Totally an option. I'm not including it because I don't think I have any, so that'll be fine too. Right, okay. In the meantime, while this is going, while this is cooking along, you know what we can do? We can continue to clean everybody. Because remember, when you cook at home, you always, always, always clean as you go. So in my case, that's going to be me putting my strainer away, throwing that into the dishwasher, and it's gonna be me putting this pot of, now all of that is overcooked vegetable mush with no other flavor, with nothing else to provide, with nothing else to add. Is this pot boiling yet? Let's find out. Are we boiling? Are we toiling? Not in the slightest, everybody. Not in the slightest, and that's okay. We're going to get up there. We're going to get up to a boil. All right, I'm just gonna make sure that I have some space for my sausages. My sausages have been going for a little bit now, maybe close to, I wanna say 12 minutes. And they're almost done, they're almost cooked. A few more minutes and then we'll take them out and slice them up. So, everybody, I haven't cleaned my pot in 2 years, that's okay. Like techniques and stuff on the Recipe Monkey, yeah. It would be techniques and specifically a food philosophy connection. I would need to think about exactly who that book is for and what I'm trying to achieve by teaching people those things. So, everybody, we're approaching the final stages of the soup, but now that we're out with the old, we are in with the new. And the new in this case is going to be my incredible, delicious salad. I have a block of feta cheese. Okay, I want feta cheese in a salad, very similar to a shepherd salad in a way. I don't want the feta cheese to be completely smushed. I don't want you to buy crumbled feta cheese. Block of feta cheese, I want to grate it over the top. The issue is feta cheese tends to be a little bit too soft for that. So what do? We take it and throw it into the freezer. And yes, use of weapons, you absolutely may eat the block of feta cheese if you would like. But for now, I'm putting it into the freezer and we're going to get it nice and firm, nice and delicious, okay? So we can go ahead and shred it over the top. Question, can I help? Well, you're already helping by being here on the Recipe Monkey, okay? You're already doing everything that you need to do to help out. So it's almost at a boil. Once we got it up to a boil, in fact, we could probably take the lid off now. We're going to keep boiling it to reduce it, to cook up all the vegetables, and everything is going to get cooked in honestly less than 10 minutes. It does not require a lot of cook time, everybody. A lot of people think you have to cook cabbage to death and back for cabbage soup. That's not necessarily the case. I just have way too much liquid in here for the moment. And I don't want that much fluid. I don't need that much liquid in here. I want to taste it for salinity at this stage. Just make sure it's not getting too salty. Yummy. Tasty. Very delicious, in fact. It's going to be a very simple but yummy bowl of soup. That's what I'm going for. Okie dokie. Sausages, they got about 1.5 minutes left on them. Everybody, let us begin doing some of the salad prep for today. So, back to the cutting board we go. Back to the cutting board. I have cucumbers, onions, and tomatoes. So, I have a question for everybody watching. How many times have you had tomatoes in a salad and they were just so watery? Well, any salad with a tomato, and the salad itself, it was watery, it was wet, it was soaked back and forth with liquid on the bottom, okay? And that is not what we are looking for today. We are not going to be obtaining a soggy salad. We are going to be getting a properly cooked salad, properly prepared salad. And what we're going to do is we're going to salt the tomatoes ahead of time so we can get all of the excess liquid out. Did I draw the smileys myself or get them from any source? This is Nanika from Hunter x Hunter. I did not draw them myself, but that's a cute question though. No reason to worry about that. If I didn't want to answer it, I wouldn't have. So it's going, it's boiling. Everybody, I want to reduce it. I want to boil out some of that excess liquid and concentrate it. My sausages are done. I'm going to pull out my sausages from the oven. They're looking delicious. They're looking golden, and they're looking crispy on the outside. And I burnt my hand because my thing was a little bit too wet. My towel was too wet. So I kind of burnt my fingertips slightly. But that's okay. Everybody, boil that soup. Boil it down. It's a vegetable soup. Right? We're looking to concentrate those flavors, and we're looking to get rid of some of that excess water. I think I just added too much water to my stock. Okay, so I got a vine tomato and I got cherry tomatoes. This vine tomato, I hope, is decent. The best way to get the stem out of the vine tomato, guys, the best way to get the core out, you don't want to dig into your knife like that. Just go in there, make a slice, make 2 little incisions, just like so. Make 2 little incisions. And away she goes. So, I wanted to test out. I wanted to find out how good is this vine tomato. If it's sweet, then we'll be in business. If not, then we have the cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes, especially in the United States, year-round, will be of a much better quality than most vine tomatoes. Okay? Ooh, the soup is boiling. The cabbage is indeed cabbaging. Excellent. Yeah, it's just mostly because most tomatoes are imported. We have so many, so much of an American culinary industry, or the not culinary industry, but an agricultural industry. I mean, so much stuff has just become exported to other places, right? And so they have to travel really long distances. They've not been bred for flavor. So I want to see how flavorful is this tomato. It sucks. That is the American experience with tomatoes, unfortunately. It just sucks. All right, I want a nice medium dice on these bad boys. So I'm gonna first slice it with a nice sharp knife and get them into nice medium chunks. And then the cherry tomatoes we'll just cut in half. Nothing crazy. Nice and easy, nice and simple. Take it, and slice it. And obtain those chunks of tomato. It is a little pale. It's not as deep red as you would like, which is usually an okay indication of ripeness, although not always, not always. Okay, we got those guys done. Now, let's just do the cherry tomatoes. I'm not gonna do the Tupperware trick just because I don't wanna go ahead and waste any Tupperware right now. It seems my gyro is a little bit sharper than this guy is, so I'll be using him instead. All right, we're gonna take the cherry tomatoes and cut them in half. So there's 2 ways that you can do it, guys. If the cherry tomatoes are big enough, you can claw grip it and slice it if you trust yourself enough. If you don't trust yourself enough, put the knife down, then pinch your fingers over. Put the knife down and pinch your fingers over. Just like so. Knife down, fingers over. Either method is okay. It just really depends on how slippery it is. Just don't put your knife first. Look what happens, or rather don't put your fingers first. Watch what happens. Guys, I put my fingers first, and then I have to navigate my knife in between them. First, do your knife down, then your fingers on top. First, knife down, then your fingers on top for maximum safety. Okay? Knife down before the fingers so that you don't accidentally stab yourself. How many of you guys have accidentally stabbed yourself doing that method? That's how you stop yourself from doing that. So I hope that helps somebody out. Okay. Almost done with all of my tomatoes. Shikomi, welcome on in. Tomato indeed. That's what we got going on. Welcome on into Concrete O as well. Howdy, howdy. Okay, everybody. We have all this lovely tomato. Okay, now we have an issue. Tomatoes are flawed. You know how they're flawed, my friends? They are absolutely saturated and soaked with excess liquid inside of it. I'm better than Gordon Ramsay? Well, Goblin Australia, welcome on in. That's very sweet of you, but yeah, we hate that guy here. Tomatoes, they have so much excess liquid inside of them. If we added this to a salad immediately as it is, guys, the salad is going to turn soggy and wet, and it's going to turn bland as all the seasonings, anything that we added to it, simply just dissolves at the bottom. So what do? We pre-salt the tomatoes, my friends. It helps to evenly season the tomato so that the salt penetrates it, and then it also assists in removing some of that excess liquid that we'll just be able to strain out. So we have tomatoes. What do? We salt it. What do? We salt it. What do? We salt it with what looks like too much salt, because a lot of that salt is going to dissipate in the liquid that comes out. And now, my friends, toss it with the salt. Toss it with the salt. Don't smush up those tomatoes. Just gently toss it with the salt. There you go. That's it. This is a lot more efficient than using paper towels, Billy Zayton, because the paper towels will only get rid of a lot of the superficial moisture, whereas the salt really gets in there and pulls out a lot of it. Okay, tomatoes, salting, let it sit behind us. So, going back to my soup, just gonna give it a nice stir, make sure nothing is sticking to the bottom or anything. And we're just continuing to reduce it and continuing to concentrate it and getting all of the veggies in there nice and soft. Okay, now let's go to the cucumber. This cucumber skin is not the best. It's a little bit rough in a couple of places. So we're going to give it a couple of peels. Also, everybody, while we're at this stage, if you'd like to support the cooking show, for those of you guys that are loving what you're seeing so far, support the Patreon or throw a Twitch sub where you can tip and donate. But the Patreon is the best way to directly support the cooking show. Exclamation mark Patreon for any of you that are interested in doing this. Okay, so we have the cucumber. The skin is not the best. Really important. These are not English cucumbers. I hate English cucumbers. I find them waxy, I find them tough, and I find them incredibly, many times less flavorful than something like a Persian cucumber. Okay? Love Persian cucumbers, love Kirby's, but I cannot stand for the life of me English cucumbers. And I hate the fact that that's what's mostly available. If you only have English cucumbers, guys, quite frankly, make a different salad. Don't do a cucumber salad if you only have access to English ones. Okay? Take it, slice off the top, slice off the bottom. Wonderful. You can even have that as a snack, I don't know. I love cucumbers. They bring me so much joy. Okay, now, how do I want to cut these? I think I'm just going to do half moons for today. I'm trying to match the size of my cherry tomatoes. So honestly, maybe even quarters I think would be nice. Slice it all the way down. Slice it into quarters. And we don't want to have too small of a chunk of cucumbers for today. I'm not going to do the cucumber salting method because I find that it actually makes it a little bit soggy. So it's okay if it adds some excess liquid. I mostly want to get the tomato liquid out. Okay. Take it, cut into quarters. Excellent. Cut it into quarters. Excellent. And what are we going to do? We're going to cube it up, my friends. Cube it up. Cube it up. Cube it up. I'm looking for nice, generous cubes here. Something, again, to roughly match the size of my tomatoes. This is not the finest of my chopped salads. I normally do them a lot finer, but for today, I just wanted to make my vegetables shine a little bit more. Going back to my soup and just stirring it up once more. It's looking excellent so far. Just really, really simple, basic home cooking, everybody. That's the magic of something like this. Love cucumbers. Take it, and what do? Cube it up, cube it up, cube it up, cube it up. Okay. And I think I'm just going to use the same tomato bowl for the salad. So I'm just going to repurpose this plate right here so I don't have to use too many more dishes. I'm going to take my cucumbers and let's put them on. Put them on my plate, put them out of sight, put them out of mind. And then we'll focus on the red onions. Are the cabbages still cabbaging? Some say that, use of weapons. Some say that. Love cucumbers. They make me so happy. Okay. I have one red onion. Okay. We're just going to be cutting these parallel to the grain itself. So what we can do is the following. We're going to cut off the butts. We're going to cut off the butts, just like so. And then we're going to slice them up nice and thin, my friends. Really, really nice and thin. Slice it, and with a nice sharp knife, you will, of course, not going to cry. This is just one small red onion that I'm using for the salad today. Okay. Slice it up. Minimal vertical force. All the way through. So, everybody, because of how pungent red onions can be in a salad, we're going to mitigate that pungency by soaking them in a little bit of vinegar. We're still going to need vinegar in the final soup today. Or in the final salad today, rather. But by first treating the red onions with the vinegar and letting them sit in it, we get to kill a lot of that pungency. So they're not as sharp, so they're not as harsh inside of the final salad. So, into a small little bowl they go. Small little bowl, small little bowl. Excellent. And we're just going to add the vinegar that we would have otherwise just added for the salad. So in goes a nice generous glug or two. Something like that. And mix it up. Mix it up. We don't necessarily need to add all of that vinegar, but it's just going to really, really help to kill some of the pungency. If you like it sharp, fan dweller, then feel free just to mix it in immediately and then eat it as it is. But for those of you that don't want that pungency, in the presence of acidity and really letting it soak a little bit, we lose so much of it. Okay? So, mixed up, vinegar coating it. Gonna put it behind me once again. Let that sit by itself. Everybody, with already a little bit of salting, look at all of that water that's coming out of the tomatoes. All of that water, preventable, isn't it? Just mix it up with the salty water again. Whoop, come on. Thank you. And my cabbage soup is still going, everybody. It's still getting nice and delicious. Everything is still getting really, really nice and soft inside. Okay, now would not be a bad time to add the paprika and cayenne, by the way. So let's do that now. Paprika and cayenne, all of it in, all of it in. It's gonna dye it red, it's gonna give us a little bit of extra flavor. Not too much, it is paprika at the end of the day, so it can only do so much for us, but still something. You know, I wasn't too excited about the soup when I was planning it, but honestly, at this point in time, I'm craving it. I've gone to the point where I'm craving it, and I'm thinking about it now. Very simple, very delicious. Let's go back in there and taste that broth. Very tasty, very yummy. Still very like pronounced raw paprika flavor that's going on right now, just because we added it in. So it's going to need a little bit for it to properly infuse. But very yummy, very tasty. That smoked pork bone broth, always such a good choice. Always a little treat. Okay, for the salad, I wanted a jalapeno. Let's do it. Let's get it sliced. Let's get it added inside. I don't want the... Do I want the seeds from the jalapeno? Yeah, I've decided I want the seeds. I want a little bit of that extra heat. So let's cut off the head. Let's slice him in half lengthwise. And then cut him up into small chunks. Let's keep all that heat in there. Slice it up, everybody. Slice it up. This is all gonna be for the salad. Just one jalapeno. And I'm mostly doing this because, especially in a lot of Georgian restaurants, you would see like salads that are really similar to this, but just with the addition of some spicy chilies. This is basically functionally almost like a shepherd salad, if we're being honest. Okay? Everybody, last but not least, let's get all of our dill nice and sliced, nice and processed, and all ready to go for today. So, for this, I would like to hear one Maria Chef. I'm going to need everybody's full attention because this is where it gets pretty important. Okay? A big mistake that you can make when cutting any fresh herb, cilantro, basil, parsley, is to crush it, is to smush it, and not to slice it. When you crush herbs, when you chop it, my friends, like this, or you do what's called a rock chop, you release so much, you break down the herbs so much that they tend to oxidize, they tend to turn brown, and they get really, really damp. We don't want that. What we want to obtain is beautifully sliced dill. So how do we do that, everybody? Well, we have the dill. We're going to take it, and we do not chop it. Remember, they're not interchangeable, but we slice it with minimal vertical force. Minimal vertical force. And we slice as thinly as we can because we don't want massive things of dill. We want nice and thin, nice and thin, nice and thin. Bundle it up. Go nice and thin, everybody. Nice and thin. No vertical force whatsoever. You have no idea how gentle I'm being. We're slicing, we're not chopping. Saw, not hammer. You got it, Shai Chica. Saw, not hammer. Saw, not guillotine, rather. That's what I see people do. They guillotine, they rock chop it back and forth. That's not what we want. Slice it, slice it. Thin, thin, thin. Because I don't like big chunks of dough. I find it to be quite unpleasant in texture, as I've described extensively in the past. Okay? Chef, there's no guillotine emote and I'm incredibly disappointed. Shai Chica, what am I going to do with a guillotine emote? Okay? And I think that should be enough slicing on the dill. We don't want to go too much finer than that, lest we do risk again crushing it and destroying it. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do about my emotes. I don't really use emotes like that. We need something so iconic. Like, I was going to do the baby bird for a little bit, but I realized ultimately it's not that iconic. I don't really like it all that much. Well, like the stuff like mandolin emotes, right? Like, these could be all like things that we use, but we gotta naturally come to the conclusion of something, you know? I've ultimately realized. Okay. Well, guess what? This is going. This is happening. My delicious cabbage soup, everybody. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a little taste. Yeah, a yes chef and no chef emote, that is what I am thinking. Okay, that raw paprika, that raw cayenne taste is gone. That is what we wanted to achieve. It's flavorful, it's tasty, it's smoky, tastes like those smoked pork bones. Everybody, 2 final additions to go into my soup today. Okay, all that we're going to need to do now is we have to cut up the sausage and throw that inside and let that heat through. And then we have to go ahead and add the dill to it as well. So, while it's still boiling, I want my dill to cook in. You know what? We can do it with the sausage. We'll do that with the sausage. Here's my perfectly roasted sausages. 1, 2, 3. We let them rest. They're nice and juicy. They're nice and delicious. Let's cut them into some nice coins. Guys, I love Italian sausage. Perfectly moist, perfectly juicy. That's why we add them at the end. You know what? No, dill first. First, a big handful of dill. I want the dill to get a little soft. I want the dill to infuse. The sausage I don't want to overcook. So to stop that, we'll turn the heat off when we add it in. Delicious. Don't worry, there will be plenty left for the stew today. There will be plenty. Okay? Guess what? Sausage is done. Oh, shoot. There's one ingredient I forgot to add. The kimchi. Why do I have 2 knives out? For small things, I use the petty knife. For big things, I use the chef's knife, fendwali. I forgot to add the kimchi. We want to let the kimchi cook a little bit as well. We want it to not be totally raw cabbage. So, add it inside. Totally optional. Again, best practice would be to use some sauerkraut or something. But I thought the kimchi would make for an excellent addition into today. And I got to use up my leftovers. Okay? And I'm going to let that cook through for a second. Again, just so that we kill some of the totally raw flavors of the kimchi. Mix it in. Mix it inside. Okay. I'm about to add in the bacon. Give that a little taste. How's it taste? Ooh. Everybody? That soup is delicious. That is yummy. That is so good. Let's go ahead and do the salt. It still needs more salt. Even after all that salt that we added, everybody, still is just a lot of liquid, a lot of food. All right? And now goes in my sausage as well as my bacon. Mix it in. Let it heat through. That's it, everybody. That is my kapushka. So, let's do a little recap before we go ahead and transition over to finishing up the salad. So what is in this amazing cauldron of soup? What does this lovely cabbage soup consist of? Really simple. We made a stock out of some vegetable scraps and out of some pork bones. We fried some bacon. In the bacon fat, we cooked carrots and leeks. Got them nice and soft, nice and delicious. We added garlic and we added black pepper. We added in our stock. We added potatoes. We added in half a head of Napa cabbage. Okay? All of it's inside, all of it cooked down a little bit. We finished it with dill. We finished it with our sausage. We finished it off with some of our pieces of cooked bacon, as well as some paprika. Okay? We're going to give this bad boy a little taste. Just taste the broth with salinity. And everybody, I'm going to tell you with confidence that that is done. That is done, that is cooked, and that is above all else incredibly delicious. This is the kind of a soup that you can reheat over and over again. It's amazing for crowds. It is amazing to have at the beginning of a week. This is ideal home cooking, my friends. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so what do we have left to do today? We gotta mix the salad, and then I wanna top it off. I wanna top it off with an aggressive amount of feta cheese, everybody. Okay, and after that, I think that's what we'll, then we'll be done with it at that point. So, does anybody have any questions before we jump into that food today? I'm going to go ahead and wipe down my station, put away my bench scraper because we no longer need it. Okay. And so we begin entering the final stages of today. All right, what do we have? What do we got going on? Well, let's find out. Over here, well, not over here actually, not yet. Here's my tomatoes with a little bit of salting. Look at what happened. Look at all of that excess liquid that came out of those tomatoes, my friends. All of that liquid. Nice and seasoned now, but we want that liquid gone. We want it gone because it would otherwise result in a salad that is too soggy. So I'm just gonna probably dump that into a little strainer. I'm gonna be using my salad spinner strainer. Makes my life easier. Drain it out. Dry off the bowl really quickly. Drain all that excess liquid out and add the tomatoes back in. Perfect. So, tomatoes are in. Let's start adding in my salad ingredients. All of my chopped up dill, not chopped, excuse me, my sliced dill. Sliced dill gets added in. I would never say chopped, everybody. Never, 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 not in 1,000 years. That gets added, gorgeous. Then, we're going to add in my cucumbers and my jalapenos. All of them get added in too. We're gonna need to season it all with even more salt because remember the cucumbers and jalapenos are bland. So we'll hit it with a good amount of salt now, right on top before we mix it in. Don't forget your feta cheese will be salty. So you wanna go slightly under the amount of ideal desired salt. Now, red onions and the soaking vinegar. Those guys get added in. Okay. I can put away my plate. I can put away my bowl. Throw those guys into the fridge. Not into the fridge, excuse me. Into my dishwasher. I'm mixing up my words today. All right. We're gonna need some kind of oil in here. You can't really have a salad without an oil, without a vinegar. So we're going to do extra virgin olive oil with the white vinegar. Nice generous amount of it, of course. And then, let's mix it up. Just gonna grab 2 wooden spoons, pick up the ingredients, and toss them together. Actually, there is one I'm neglecting, still some black pepper. I think black pepper would make for a nice accompaniment. It would make for a nice addition in here. So, black pepper goes in. And let's mix it up. Let's mix it up. Let's mix it up. And now my salad comes together. Super simple, but super delicious. I love a good chopped salad. Just try your best to not squish the ingredients. Try your best to not destroy them or anything. Just mix it around. Toss it all together. Okay, and now let's taste it for seasoning. We're looking for salt, we're looking for pepper, we're looking for olive oil, and we're looking for the vinegar. And we want them to all be in proportion to each other, okay? So take a nice big bite of everything. Oh, really delicious. But more salt will be needed. That's for certain. More black pepper will be needed as well. And we're going to do 1 more glug of olive oil to my tastes. Salt, pepper, olive oil, and let's mix it up 1 more time. There she is. Just a simple, delicious, but very healthy salad. Okay. There you go. Let's taste that again. Come on, buddy. Come on. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Delicious. Everybody, one last addition. Do not forget about the feta cheese sitting in the freezer. It's getting firm. It's been waiting just for this moment. It's been waiting its whole life for this. We're going to go ahead and heavily, what I like to do, I don't want to mix in the cheese. I want to grate it all over the top. I'm imagining the Turkish salads, the shepherd salads that I had growing up, and it would just be doused in feta cheese right on top. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna get ready. That's what we're gonna get out of the freezer. Basically like a shepherd salad, really. Okay. Feta cheese is officially out. I'm gonna grab a little baggie to put it in afterwards. I'm gonna grab a nice little grater. And I'm going to be going for fine shreds of feta cheese, my friends. And it'll be delicious. You just have to watch. Come on. Ah, it's not popping out of the thingy. There you go. Everybody, we're almost done. We're almost done with it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some scissors. I'm gonna open it up. And I'm gonna go ahead and add it inside. Put on a glove for the stage. So that's why we freeze it, so that it stays nice and firm, okay? You don't wanna just go like right from the refrigerator. Thanks for the stream, looks good. Almost as good as my dishes. I see 6 packs. Almost as good as yours. Wow, I'm honored. I am flattered, truly. Okay. Just gonna open up the package of feta, which I should have, truthfully, done a little bit sooner. Come on. Ah, this step is so annoying. Opening this up with scissors, such a headache. Come on, buddy. Out you go. Please. Please let me open you up. Please. Thank you. Finally. I got into the package. At long last. It only took me an embarrassingly long amount of time. Okay, I got feta cheese. Let's process it. Let's get it into the salad, my friends. Get all that excess liquid away. Get it gone. I don't need you. Some of it came out in the freezer. That's fine. Everybody, we got the cheese grater. We have the feta cheese. Now that it's been frozen, we can grate it. We don't have to crumble it. We can just get these incredible, beautiful shavings of feta cheese. And I want it caked on top. I should have probably done the bigger grater. I'm gonna get the big one. I'm getting the big one. I'm getting it. Whoa, hello. I hit my camera. Okay, that's fine. The big one is going to do a much better job of what I wanted to achieve. The small one was a mistake. Oh, everybody, this kind of a salad with some olives as well. That would be an excellent choice. Highly, highly recommend doing some of it. And so I don't want to mix it in because it'll get lost a little bit. I really want to have that presentation of just this big, aggressive pile of cheese right on top. Okay, a little bit more cheese. Everybody, what do you think? Do you think that's enough cheese? Is that enough feta? Maybe a little bit more. I lied. I don't need your input. I got my own. Wonderful. Feta. Done. Delicious. And we're going to plate it up. And then we're going to enjoy it. And then we're going to be all set, my friends. That was the final ingredient. That was the final component of today. Throw that into my fridge. I love feta. And we don't want to mix it in. Again, I want it all on top, all in one solid layer. All the final touches are done. Everything is completed. The dish is ready. Gonna wipe off my station. Get all those little bits out of here. You were gonna say more, Shy Chica? I think that's a plenty amount of for the salad like this. I think that's enough. That's enough of that. Okay. Gonna wipe off my hands. We'll plate it up and then we'll be all set and all done with. Oh no, did I run out of my favorite little bowls? I see. Okay, well, we'll have to do a big bowl for the salad. Gonna get a nice big scoop of that. Nice big scoop of salad. All of it in for myself. Delicious and seasoned. Let's get some more of that cheese right on top. That is a nice generous portion of salad, I think, for myself today. And I'm going to get myself a nice bowl of soup while we're at it. Actually, no, we'll lose the color red if I use the red bowl. So I have to use the other bowl so that the soup looks red. Mixing in the bacon, mixing in the sausage. Yes. That is a nice, proper Polish dinner, I think. Soup and salad. Can't get any more Eastern European than that. Okay. Ooh, that looks quite good. I think that looks quite good at least. Let's grab a spoon. Let's grab a fork. And if everybody's ready for the recap, I want to hear the nice resounding yes, chef. This will be the last yes, chef that I ask for. And then we'll eat it and we will enjoy it. So, what do we got today? We got the most humble of soups. Look how flavorful it looks. Look how delicious it looks. And yet, at the end of the day, she is just a cabbage soup. We made our own homemade stock out of pork bones, out of mushroom stems, and vegetable scraps. We fried up some bacon. We cooked carrots and leeks inside of the bacon fat. We added garlic, black pepper, our stock, okay? Then we added to that some potatoes and a shredded up Napa cabbage. We finish it off with kimchi. We finish it with dill. We finish it with some roasted sausages as well as the cooked up bacon. Really simple, really delicious, and really hearty. This is just very basic and very cheap home cooking. Alongside it, this gorgeous little salad, everybody. Cucumbers, tomatoes, red onions, okay, dill, jalapeno, and then white vinegar, as well as some olive oil, and then with a whole bunch of feta cheese on top as well. I am going to go ahead and take a picture for myself. It's a cabbage soup, but I think it still looks quite delicious. It's glistening on top. It looks flavorful. And I'm very excited about it. So, let's start off with a little bite of a salad. Cheers. Basically like a shepherd salad with jalapenos in it. And, you know, we're using dill and not parsley. It's simple. It's not going to be anything that you won't expect it to be, but it's just a really delicious, good, consistent salad to make at home. Then, some of my cabbage soup. We got a whole bunch of sausages in there, a whole bunch of cabbage. I want to just try some of the broth first. Ooh. That is good. The smoked pork bones immediately come through. I'm gonna try some sausage in there. And then, of course, some of the cabbage. Come on, my friend. Cabbage and bacon together. Sure, why not? Oh, everybody, that is fantastic. It's so simple. It's so delicious. It's something that you can eat so many bowls of. And it's something that holds exceptionally well in the fridge. And that is going to do it for today. I'm quite happy about that. I want to enjoy my food off camera. Everybody, thank you for being here. We're live every Wednesday, we're live every Friday, and we're live every single Sunday, 5 p.m. EDT, twitch.tv/DaramgarTV. If you'd like to support the show, exclamation mark Patreon in the chat. Patreon.com/Daramgar is the best way to go ahead and do so. Everybody, hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Hope you all enjoy. This is the beginning of another new week, and I finally have my weekend. My day off is tomorrow. Thank you for being here, and I will see you all on Wednesday.